I reincarnating in the world of Douluo Dalu, but don't want to killing soul beast obtaining soulring. I create my own method in this life, I become a soul beast tamer. Chapter 1 Prologue. Yes, that feels like shish, I looked around or more like felt around me case I don't have a body now. It feels like my conscience floats in the sea, its kind feels relaxing, so I'm in a coma or something. Well, the last thing I remember is walking in the street when I saw a little girl standing in the middle of the road when a car almost hit her, but lucky for her, the unlucky me jump on reflex pushing her out, and get thrown by the car then wake up. Here. In the middle of nowhere in between the dimension a lady and a little girl with unique galaxy hair, fox ears, and a tail. The girl looking at the glowing globe in front of her with a sad face. The lady, her mother patted her head and said, "It's okay, he had a good heart, so don't worry, he won't be angry." Lifting her eyes from the girl she looked at the globe for a moment before snapping her finger and the darkness around turned white and the globe, or the soul to be specific, took a human shape with no characteristics face, ears. The moment he takes shape he looks around finding the girl and her mother. After a moment of silence, he looked at the lady and said, "I don't know what happened but from what I remember I was trying to save the little girl beside you, please don't tell me I didn't make it in time." The girl flinches and hides behind her mother murmuring, "Sorry." The lady just chuckles, "No, you made it in time, but she didn't need saving, I am more surprised that you saw her with your mortal eyes." The soul just got confused, "Saw her? Sigh, can you explain to me in more detail, please?" Seeing that he was calm after all this. The lady was surprised and the girl was just stupefied. Don't judge them by their young look, they travel and have few cases of meeting souls after death and even very few keep their sanity after the big realization. He asked, "What, something wrong?" The lady and girl just look at each other then they start to chuckle and the lady said, "No, nothing wrong, it's just most people will start to squirm and throw anger fits on us because technically it's our fault for your death." The girl lowered her head again and said, "Sorry." The soul just nodded and said, "Mostly yes, but death is something I believe is the end of every born creature, and I jump on my own to help, so no fault in any person but me. I chose an action, and here is the conscience of it, so don't worry." The girl looks at him for a moment before stopping hidden behind her mother and bowing, "Sorry for causing your death, and thank you for helping me." The lady just started to note it and said with a smile, "Yup, as accepted, kind, forgiving, add to how you could see my daughter. I was right, you hold a close link to nature." Not understanding what she mean the soul asked, "Excuse me?" The lady just continued, "I am talking about your past life. When you helped my daughter and died, your soul supposes to enter the wheel of reborn. But you end up here in the between, a place between the dimension and world, and very few could survive here, and not about strength, but more about the uniqueness of the being itself." The soul looks around, "If understand well, this place supposed to be some kind of abyss. So how that related to me close to nature?" The lady just smiles, "Nature is more than forests, mountains, and seas. Nature is more than just part of the floating rock in space, its principle and definition are more than you can imagine." The soul just keeps silent trying to understand the meaning behind her world. What he didn't notice is, the moment he starts to try to understand this world the energy around him started to jumble, surprising the duo watching. The girl looked at her mother, "Mom, is that?" The lady just nodded and looked serious for a moment before smiling and looking into the far unknown space and smiling, "Fate is really interesting." Looking back at the soul that she meets unexpectedly, "Let's give him his chance and see where he gets." After a while, the soul starts to get back to his thought, "I see." He looked at the lady and said, "So what happened to me now?" The lady just keeps observing him for a while, "How do you feel about living a second life?" "Let's see, how about Soul Land?" The soul flinches for a second then with hardly cancelled excitement, "Wish generation. I hope it is you how time. Do I get to choose my martial soul?" Gaining a chuckle from the parent-child duo. The lady said, "Even if I don't know what time you will land, and your martial spirit will determine when you are there, all I can give you is a prick or two at max, and help you wake your memory later." The soul took some time to think and then said, "Then can you give me the ability to be an alchemist in crafting and some kind of ability to grow the plants safely? And some kind of a prize skill to keep track of my training in the other state?" The lady looked at him and nodded, "Sure, and I will leave a gift for you as thanks for your good heart and the courage you show up." The soul nodded, "All good, but you never told me your names, and way little sweetie was not in danger." The lady looks at the girl, right, we never did, but. She looks back at the soul with mischief smile. That is something you should ask next time you meet us, but for now, you can address me as ancestor. Not giving him time to talk, she start accumulating the energy around the soul to form a sphere. After a moment the sphere despair, leaving only the soul that starts to despair too. The last thing she told him in a soft voice before he despair completely, I don't know how your new body will be, but I make it so you will wake up in a little base close to Shrek where supposed to be. Good Luke, and remember, everything has value to have, deserve to fight for, and don't forget, strong will bring the impossible close to possible, and with the hard work noting fair from hands. After the soul despair completely, the two of them despair too, and the place goes back to what it was before. Chapter 2 Determination and New Beginning. The outskirt of the Stardew Forest, below a tree, a 7-year-old kid lying down. Seconds passed and he opens his eyes. What happened? After a while, he looked at his surroundings. Sigh. So it's real, and he stops his thinking when he notices the condition of his body. He has blonde red hair and a malnutrition body, but after noticing his missing right foot from the ankle below, the reason probably was cut with some sharp edge, all of a sudden he was hit with pain all over his body, and some memories start to play in his mind that were the memory of this body. Huff, huff, that was a life I wouldn't want for any kid or even adult. After the pain calmed I look again at my right leg, sigh, so that way she told me that, to put it simply, I took over the body of a dead kid, an ex-slave to be precise. After his mother died he tried to run but got his leg cut in the process. The little kid died here with blood loss, and I end taking over the body. I don't know even what timeline I am at, all the memory were around the hellhole he live in, and since I didn't wake my martial soul yet, sigh, let's just keep going one step at a time. Now let's find the base. First, as I was about to look around I heard a mechanical ringing and a pointer appear in front of me pointing to a little tree on my right. Is this the gift? Thinking while observing the little tree, but I found that it's fake. I struggle a little to get closer. Man, I never know losing a leg will be this bad. All my respect for thou's ever live his whole life like this. And as I touch the trunk, the tree, and the ground close to 3 meters, sink with me. As I was about to freak out the ground stopped and lights start to shine around. And I have to say, it looks cool. Never guess this underground if you come inside with closed eyes. I look around to find a wheelchair. Well, I guess I have been seen in this situation. I got over the wheels and a malnutritioned kid's body didn't help much. I look around again to find 3 books, a glass globe, and something warped in cloth on top of the table. After I investigate the items I found a letter on top of the clothes, and a kind heartwarming one at that. Hi little one. If you read this it means you have woken up and found your base. So first thing first, the clothes have an artifact left leg made to suit you for now, and the little globe is a globe that will help you wake your material spirit. As for the books, one is part of my insights into cultivation that will help you. The other one is about this underground house. And the last one is a bit special, it contains information about the basics of contact and formation hopefully will come to help in the future. And sorry that you have to lose your leg and experience what you have, although it's just memories. I hope it gives you a vision of what the weak life looks like, so get stronger. So make your life count. P.S. When waking your martial spirit lay down as the globe has a healing and cleansing effect on the body while you will forced to sleep. PS2. After you wake your spirit just think of scanning yourself and you will see my gift. Sigh. I look at the letter then the clothes, and look up to the roof and said, thanks for your care. Really, it's kind new to me to have someone taking care of me. First I took look at what was inside the clothes, and I was surprised, it cool black metal leg with golden patterns on sides. After that, I opened the book about the house and it blew into light particles and hits me in the forehead. I zoned for a second before releasing the new information in my head. Wow, this place is amazing. I mean seriously, the Howl House is an artifact, with a lot of spec and formation. The cool part is it can shift to necklaces and establish anywhere I want, added with a design interface make the house how I like. The house has dozens of bedrooms, a kitchen, a bathroom, an alchemist and forging laboratory, a big living room, right beside this one, a swimming pool, and many more, and that is just the default design setting, and finally a giant-ass library with countless books, and training room, and each of those rooms have a size impossible underground, but from what I know it's like that because space expanding inside. I just start to feel happy then remember that I steal on the wheel, so I just grab the leg and put it in place and like some Iron Man armor, an extension hugs my leg just to below my knee. It was hard to walk, but I managed to walk to a closed bedroom, lay down on the fluffy bed, then looked at the globe in my hand. I was never a fighter, and probably never will if I stay there. I mean, I was a man working on the beach because of my love for nature. I was a man who will walk beside the wall just to keep for myself. But guessing from the memories of the body, I will describe this world as a world where might make right, that just from what he sows in bandit hideout. I look at the globe for a moment again before warping my fingers around it. I will live the way I want, free from others, free to pursue what I love to do. I put strength in my hand, so from today, I live on my rules, and for that, I need strength. Crack, the globe broke, turning into energy and covering me. I feel like taking a bath after a long day of work. After getting a break, the globe turns into energy and covers the little kid like an eggshell. While unconscious, his body starts to strengthen, his bones become more sturdy, the muscles more firm and flexible, and his inner organs and meridians are reinforced, leading his body to become more perfect to cultivation. After a while, the energy despair leaving behind the kid suspend in the air. Right after that, his hair turns silver and 9 tails and fox ears of the same color appear behind his back and on top of his head. Seconds later they despair. Then again his chest took a golden shine behind his rib cage as if his lung were glowing. After the glow vanish, he slowly floats back to the bed, but the moment he was in it, white tree roots grow around him as if protecting him, and while he lay down his hair turned green with a few golden looks, and then his body starts to suck spiritual and soul power. His body keeps absorbing spiritual and soul power the whole night while sleeping. Chapter 3, First Step for Change. Huff. That huff was tiring. In the training chamber in the underground house, an 8-year-old kid with blonde red hair lying on the ground catching his breath. It's been 2 years since he was transported to this world, and compared to before, he now has a well-trained body that you will think is older by year or two. Thanks to the house left behind by that lady, he didn't have reason to go out, so he concentrate on his training. After he woke up with a big surprise. That day he woke up to find out, not only did he wake up with unique martial souls but also the gift he promised. The first is the analysis interface, which allows me to scan anything from a living being to objects. The second is a half dimension the same size as Japan, but the fun fact that is every planet there has a property that is used in alchemy, so he got a giant herbal garden for his personal use. This year he didn't do anything except train and solidify his cultivation. From the information I have from the book, I was fully innate, so instead of looking for a soul ring, I trained so I get used to my body. He looks at the count on top of his head counting the end training season. As today is the day that finally he beat the master level of material arts training, and when he said martial art we have to talk about the training chamber. I have to say it's freaking amazing. All I have to do is choose the training subjects and the room will make a schedule for me with training avatar, so I chose to train in Wing Chun Kung Fu and renowned Taekwondo, thinking so he sat down in meditation to restore his stamina and energy faster. As for mastering 2 martial arts, it is thanks to his body and martial souls as what he awakens is 2 of the top-ranked martial soul, the Soul Lounge, and the 9 Tails Fox. Huff. Now let's see how much I gained from this months of training. Standing up, activating the scan, and a hologram popped in front of me. Ray age 8Y 23. Spirit rank 10. Blood essence 9% awaken, can be awaking when the body passed a trust hold. Strong body 2 LV higher than the host rank. Material soul 9-tailed fox. Innate abilities: control and manipulate the fire and light element, ability to shift into fox form, low attack and defense, high agility and speed. Element form: allow the transformation of the body to an element, fire and light. Soul lungs mutated. Innate ability: immunity to all forms of poison, light mist breath, heal effect, fire breath. Special: Palana. Personal dimension with rich earth and heaven energy, and unknown number and type of medical herbs. Active abilities: gate. Open a gate to the place the user was in before. Space shifter. Short distance teleportation. Self-created techniques. Quick step. A high-speed movement technique. Imagine Shumpo or Sonido. Strengthening. Use soul force to strengthen a part or all of the body depending on the user. Air steps. Using soul force to kick the air. Well, it's not that bad for now. I don't want to brag or anything but expect my soul power level. Everything is not something you can archive in a short time normally, but I will say I am talented. And add with the dame sadistic avatars I train with, I pulled out good results. I even create a set of techniques and they were a complicity surprise even for me, as I was only figuring out how to manipulate soul and spiritual power, and they just click for me. The only part that I don't get is my bloodline. I saw what happened later in the series, but DD3 was a special case. As for mine, I am completely clueless about it. Anyway, time to visit the Star Forest and start my cultivation for real. Going out of the training room, I took a shower and headed to the warehouse, one of the rooms in this house that made my life easier. This warehouse has to note except drawers all over the walls and a little interface. All I need to do is put the name and content of things, and a drawer will open with the material in it if I have them in stock. And I have everything I need and don't need, from diapers to some unique metals. So I picked 2 one-handed swords, and a robe, then head out. Douluo Forest 3D POV. It's been 5 days since leaving the hideout. Now Ray is in the middle region of the Douluo Forest, and for a while now, he was looking for a suitable soul beast. Not like he didn't find any, he just didn't find a strong one enough to be one of his soul spirits. Yes, you heard right, he wasn't looking for a soul ring but a soul beast that will agree to be his partner spirit, as he liked to call it. How? Going back to when Ray started to use soul power and searching its application with the help of what he got, he found a cultivation technique that allowed him to make contracts with soul beasts, allowing them not only to keep their body, but when they enter a contract, they will gain more years under their belt, also allow them to grow stronger, and that was only things that he discovered. Now he looking for at least a 9,000-year-old one. While trading between the trees, his spiritual sense picks a fight going on not far ahead of him. He picks up the speed after getting close to the noise. He hides his presence, and start to get close slowly to find a fight going between a crystal-like deer 3 to 4 meters tall and a long red serpent. While hiding, Ray didn't notice, but the moment he got close, the deer flinched for a moment. Chapter 4 First Step for Change 2. First POV. Now, this is interesting, I thought while observing my first fight between soul beasts. It's my 5th day in this forest and it's kind of calming, well except for the part where I have to keep my guard up all the time. The natural environment here is super relaxing, not compared to Plana, but relaxing nevertheless, and while I did find dozens of soul beasts with fire or light attitudes, for some reason no one was over 3,000 years. So here I am watching a fight in the middle zone of the forest. Let's see what type they are first. Scan. Crystal Stag. 7,500-year-old, less than weakened by giving birth, F greater than. Soul beast with a unique attitude of crystal and light. This beast type is known for its high intelligence and detachment from other beasts. More. Volcano Serpent. 8,000 ym. Soul beast with a fire and earth attitude, known for its aggressive and savage character. More. Oh, so a berserker versus artist-like fighter. But the fight itself is weird. The serpent is attacking but the deer is just defending and never leaving its place, as if. Wait, don't tell me. Scan the tree behind the deer. Scan. Crystal Deer Habitant Cave. Crystal Stag Cub. 10 more. 3 pairs of deer crystal antennas. More. Crystal Deer Cub. Newborn Stag. Very few recorded in Soul Land history, the reason being that any cube below 100 will have unique blood that helped any type of cultivation, human and beast, to rise their level by 2 ranks at minimum. Lose those property after surpassing the age of 100 years. Crystal Deer Antennas. Sheds every 10,000 year. Holy asterisk. That means the mama deer is at 30,000 years old at least. And that little one is a treasure in the eyes of any cultivator. No surprise I never saw anything like this. And this also proves that what I know from the book and series isn't everything out there. As was thinking, I got an idea. Wait, maybe I can get her to be my first spirit for my lungs. But first, let's help her out. I keep observing the fight until the moment when the serpent was attacking and will land a clean hit. I use my ultimate fire and light element to surpass the fire around the serpent, giving a chance for the deer to land a clean hit on the serpent, sending it flying right below me, so I end up taking the chance and land a dropkick on its head, killing it in the process. After a while, purple energy came out of the serpent, forming a soul ring. It is an amazing phenomenon. No matter how much I saw it on screen in my past life, nothing beat the real experience. Looking back at the deer, I raised my hands and said, I have no ill intention toward you. I know that you can understand me. Can I come closer to heal your wound? The deer looked surprised, but so I was. When she take a step back. What gives you the idea that I will trust humans? Last time I checked, you hunt us for rings, so why to help me for nothing? Well, that will be expected. But since she was ready to speak, I have a chance. I hope won't end be eaten. I never said to trust me. I know how it's out there, but anyway, as you probably sensed, I don't even have a single soul ring, so I don't pose a treat to you. I stopped talking to see her reaction, but still the same, so I continue. The only way I could help you before is my superior attitude of light and fire, so you can keep your guard up and let me heal you as a show of goodwill. She keep looking at me for a while and not moving, so I add, if you don't want me to heal you it's okay, but at least can you hear a propose of me? She just glares at me with increasing bloodlust. I sighed and sat down. At least give it a minute to think about it. I want a chance to speak, a chance to star my road in different directions, and to do that I refused to hunt for soul ring. Instead I am trying to put another method in use, but indeed the help of soul beast. I look right in her eyes. So what your call? Crystal, dear Pav. Really bad luck today. Not even a year pass, and this is the 8th time someone eyeing my child appeared. I thought while dodging a fire blast from a serpent in front of me. As the battle goes on I got more injuries and wounds, and in the worst timing ever, I sense human watching the fight. But to my surprise, after observing for a while, in a critical moment he helped me surpass the fire element of my enemy, leaving him defenseless. I took the chance and hit him directly, sending him flying in the human direction. And although he's weak, the volcano serpent has one of the hardest skulls, second only to some canine types, but the human penetrated it with one kick with his metallic leg. Is that his martial soul? After confirming the serpent's death he turned toward me, raising his hand. I have no ill intention toward you. I know that you can understand me. Can I come closer to heal your wound? Will that surprise, but suspicious? Although I never bother with the conflict between humans and beasts, I have quite the knowledge under my belt to know not to trust humans. I took a step back. I never said to trust me. I know how it's out there, but anyway, as you probably sensed I don't even have a single soul ring, so I don't pose a treat to you. The only way I could help you before is my superior attitude of light and fire, so you can keep your guard up and let me heal you as a show of goodwill. I just glare at him, weak. Yea, but how the hell I will know this isn't a trap? And goodwill, what is this human even thinking? There is no good between a human and a soul beast. I start to release my bloodlust, and to my surprise, he just sighs and sits down, saying, at least give it a minute to think about it. I want a chance to speak, a chance to star my road in different directions, and to do that I refused to hunt for soul ring. Instead I am trying to put another method in use, but indeed the help of soul beast. He looks at me in the eyes. There is no malice in his sky blue eyes, only determination and strong will. I calmed down a little after I saw them. As the humane love to say, the eyes are the soul window, and this phrase is the perfect description to my species, as we can judge the being and figure their intent from their eyes and observe the human in front of me. I may keep myself away from others, but I have many chances to see and observe humans, and this one in front of me probably isn't an adult yet, meaning his child, but the weird part is him being alone here. As the norm out there, someone his age will be escorted by some kind of older or senior or something. After scanning the surroundings and finding nothing, I look at the kid. What you want, kid? I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. Chapter 5, First Step for Change 3. Ray Pav. Seeing the giant deer setting down and asking, what you want, kid? I feel happy that I still didn't lose this chance. I look up to the dark sky and said, I want something different. Third Pav. I want something different. In the middle region of the Doe Star Forest, a kid not older than 8 years old sitting in front of a giant white snow deer with crystal antennas said while looking at the dark sky. The deer just looked confused before the kid continue. You see, human only known way to advance is by adding a soul ring after every breakthrough. The kid face has a smile that shows anticipation to the future, but that what's so far known, what I want is the unknown, something completely out of the norm. Pick. He looks at the deer with a sad smile. I know how cruel humans can be. Let's not talk about other species, they sometimes can be cruel to even their kind. The kid clicks some part of his iron leg and pulls it off, putting it in front of him. That earned a surprised but sad look from the deer. The kid carried the leg and said, 2 years ago, before even I woke up my martial soul, I was attacked together with my mother. While I was lucky enough to run away from them, I lost my mother and my left leg in that day. He stopped and smiled, but I wake up in an unknown room with a lady sitting beside me. Later after that, she took care of me, even giving me a place to call home and this leg before disappearing, leaving only one message: live a life you won't regret. Looking at the deer in front with a more powerful and strong-willed voice, while training and living alone, I had my time to think of why he did what he did, and the paradox of the actions humans take in general. A man put himself at risk to save a kid he didn't know, and the Ganges get together to make others' life miserable, so what the difference? The kid looked at the deer, and to his surprise, she actually answered, it's the way they choose to live on, the very belief they have in them. It's the same for soul beasts. This leaves the kid with a huge smile on his face and exited voice, exactly. The moment he said that, the area around them gained a calm atmosphere. The deer start to feel as if she's staring at a mountain that hides a volcano inside, treating to explode at any moment instead of a small fragile kid. The kid just continues with a determined voice, that's why, that day I made my decision, no classic way for me, no, normal, standards, for me out there. I will create the road that I will walk and keep my one mark. I don't need a guide, I will walk the unknown road as it has more worth walking than the signed ones. The deer got stuck in his words for a while. Strong will and determination are two of the most outstanding and rarely seen even between you human, and having it from a young age, that alone tells a lot about you. Standing up and coming close to the first human kid and probably the last that will pick her interest ever, towering over him, she asked again in a deep voice, but what all that have to do with me? What even stops me from killing you now and ending a future threat to all the soul beasts? Putting her spiritual pressure on him, trying to test his resolve. The kid just look up, just smiled, and answer, simple, the same reason I start this conversation, I want strength, but not the normal way, what I want is your strengths, but without the killing part, and you get to strengthen yourself. The deer snorted, how so? And how a weak human can make me stronger? I see more benefit in eating you now, at least I can heal faster and probably evolve thanks to your ultimate elements. The kid was about to answer but got tickled on the ground by a pink shadow. To the astonishment of the two, it was the little deer that hiding behind his mother. Ray Pav. As I was about to explain the plan and the contract benefits, I noticed the little deer that was hiding jump at me. At first I thought his attacking, but I feel no ill intention, so I let it be until I got tickled on the ground. Looking closely, his color is pink instead of the white color of his mother. The only comment thing between them is the white bluish crystal antenna, but the most important thing is, it's really cute. I mean, how the hell does someone have it in his heart to kill a creature this cute? I look at the corpse of the serpent in resentment before I look at the fawn in front of me, if you can call it that considering its adult horse size, but cute nevertheless, patted in excitement. Ah, how are you doing, little cute? He pushes his head closer to my hand. Oh, look like you like it. How about here? Good boy, said, petting under his shin, earning me a pure like cat. Man, this so cute, I thought while laughing at his reaction to my petting. I was brought back by a surprised voice of, why? You know about my species? Of course, I know. How do you think I know? You will understand me. Not every day you meet a soul beast and you don't run for your life, I said, still petting the little deer that just melted in my lap. I smiled. Man, I wish I had a camera right now. Wait. I am definitely making one later. While doesn't because of the fluff, the mother just come close and said, Sai, do me a favor and heal my wounds, said while looking at her child lying his head on my lap with a troubled face. But for me, I was over the moon. If everything goes well, I can pull this. I will use one of my innate abilities, so please don't freak out. I activate my lunge martial soul, and my chest glows in golden light that can be seen through my clothes. I took a deep breath using the light mist breath, and then emptied my lungs. The area around us started to get filled with gold mist. The little deer took notice of that, jumped on my lap, and started to play around the mist while the one I was healing looked around in astonish. Although I know that one of your attitudes was the ultimate light, but still seeing it is another thing. Just look at the trees around that start growing just by its presence here. She looks back at me and said, while I am healing, can you tell me your proposal? I look at her and said, remember when I told you about the lady? She nodded. She left me behind a giant library, containing all types of books. Even my cultivation technique was from there. But while I was browsing, I found a contract technique, and with the right adjustment I can make it used as a link between me and soul beasts, so I got a soul ring perfect for them. And they got a boost in their age. That the normal contract. There are other types, but before I could continue, sense some kind of beast or cultivator approaching at high speed, and look like a strong one at that. Both of them turn in the same time in the direction the creature coming from. I look at them. I can open a space gate to a safer place. Do you want to tag along? The deer look at me, then at her child, then me again. Look like she hasn't trusted me yet. I raise my hand. I swear to heavens that I won't take any ill action or intent toward both of you. If I ever do so, then shall my cultivation be broken and never repair. The moment I end my swear, we heard lighting in the sky. The deer looked surprised but got herself together and said, Thank you, please lead the way. I nodded. If you have anything you want to bring, go get it, I said, opening a gate below the serpent and sending it to Plana. I could feel the deer using soul power to bring here antennas from the Dean, so I just open a gate and jump inside, followed by the pair. Chapter 6 First Step for Change 4. Third POV. In the fight zone, shortly after the gate Ray used to spare 3 people landed. The first one was an old man in tattered clothes, the other 2 were a man with short hair and long bangs that cover his entire right eye. Last person is a lady with green hair neatly bundled up. The old man look around and see the remaining mist around, looking back at the man and woman behind him to find them fabled. What you think happened? The black-haired man look around and used his spiritual sense to look around while the women vanished to appear next to the deer HIED out entrance. After while the man spooked. From what I've seen, a fight broke up, probably between beasts, but a third entity interface killing on of them, and looking at the blood around, and healing effect of that mist. That entity probably healed the survivor of the fight. The lady got back throwing a crystal-like thing at the size of thumb to the man. I found couple of those in the cave below the tree. It's some kind of crystal, not a metal as far as I know, and looking at the trace of the fight, it belongs to the one that was protecting his cave, or what was in the cave. The man looked at her with confused eye, and she just smirked at him. Look like your eyes become dull, Shouj. The fighting traces left behind shows clearly one side was only fighting to protect something inside there, pointing at the tree, but beast hardly value place over their life, so my guess it was protecting a newborn. Shouj just scuff and turn to the old man. Elder Zahn, I also sense, although weak, an ultimate light attitude in that mist, and probably, the third party have some space manipulating ability, otherwise no way out of here without us noticing. Elder Zahn nodded. That's probably the best conclusion. He looked around for one last moment before start float. Let's head back. We come here because this pure light element we sense. Let's take this crystals to old Mew and see what he got for use, and if fate have it, we will meet. Flying in Shrek City direction, thinking, have ultimate light element and it's probably a soul beast, as no sane person will heal soul beast, whatever it's definitely will rise a storm in the future. While they leaving the place, Ray was now in the middle of open field with grass filling all the ground the eye can see. The 2 beasts were really stuck in place with surprise as breathtaking view greet them. The moment they got out of the gate they sense a pure and dense haven and earth energy. In the right side of the field a mountain forest spreading all the way to the horizon, while a sea on the right spreading on the left side meeting with colorful mist-like barrier in the horizon. The giant deer look around and said, where are we now? I can sense some life signal in the water, but the land is almost empty of any kind of creator except the trees and plants. She look at the kid who brought them here to find him playing with here child not minding her question, so she got over and smacked both of them in the head. Ouch, what that for? After getting hit, he turned his head to her, and she look at her childer with a, behave, face causing him to hide behind Ray. Seeing this Ray look at her, this is Plana and it's a sub-dimension. I wake away to get inside at the same time my martial soul awakened and only I can determine if anyone can get in or not. By the way, you're the 2 first entity that I took inside. As Ray ended his explanation he sat down on the grass. The young deer took the chance and put his head on his lap earning an enjoyable petting. Ray just pet his head with a smile continued to speak about where he stopped before, so as I was saying before, the first way, won't have any disadvantage, to bout parties, and will get equal benefits. The deer took the view in front of her without talking and then look at Ray not looking at her, but still smiling and playing with her child. Human kid that knows her species, and from the look of it he not acting, but enjoying his time, and what surprised her the most is the closeness of her child to him. Don't take the cute look of his as part of been easy to get close to. No, on the contrary her kind have keen instinct when it's come to the other's intention, forget tackling someone or beast to play, anything gets close to him gets squashed to his death, that if he could get close enough in the first place. Noticing that even her, got easygoing in this kid present to the point that he was allowed to play with her child without her instinct getting triggered, the deer sighed thinking, something really wrong with me today. She sat next to Ray and looking at the sea and the colorful mist in the horizon, you humans have names right, what yours? Ray looked at her for a moment before getting back to petting, it's Ray, my name is Ray. She just nodded and continued, so Ray, what are the benefits I got from your deal? Ray scratched his head and said, well if we go by the normal contract and according to my calculating, I have enough potential to push you back to your prime, and add couple of century to your age. and that is just a calculation. I don't want to brag, but I honestly don't know my limits. Ray said while thinking, well, according to the scan calculation, that is with only taking the little portion of my bloodline I awaken, and not knowing how it will react to my first integration to normal soul ring, let alone the stunt I am trying to pull. Chapter 7 First Step for Change 5. The deer keeps silence for Will, then said, you said, normal contract, so there is other type. Ray nodded. The normal one I call it, agreement contract, the two sides gain equally, and for the other one, and I will be honest, it's dangerous, as I don't have any proof that will be 100% its work, not like the other you have high risk too, looking at the deer waiting for her response. Let's hear what you have first, and don't leave anything out, saying she laid down behind him. Ray leaned on her and said, the other one, and the one I intended to form with you, is what I name, Fate Bond. This contract supposed to link our souls, allowing you to become part of me, so I will have you as my soul ring. On the other side you will be linked to me instead of the world, so you can rise your age without fear of troublation. At that the deer flink a little, but not gone unnoticed by Ray. By the YU maturing speed will rise the more powerful I become as side effect. On that the deer look at him to see if he's serious. Ray nodded, yes, as you hear, and depend on the age of the soul beast he can tack more than one soul ring. On my calculation any beast below 9,000 year can give one ring, between 10,000 and 50,000 can give 3 rings, between 50,000 and 100,000 can give to 5 rings. I didn't include anything higher. The deer just look at the misty horizon, absorbing what she heard. In honest thought, if it was a couple of years ago I will take it with no second chance, but, looking at her child and start to get in really serious mode. Noticing the look she is giving, Ray figured out her train of thinking. A smile bloomed on his face for 2 reasons. First, that he has a solution to her problem, and second is the motherly love that he saw in her eyes, and as she was about to ask something. Ray bites his hand, leaving a drop of blood stain the fur beside the right ear of her child before the wound closed at high speed. After a second the blood took a tree with 3 fairy wings on the side's design and turned into black color. As that happened Ray start to talk, the worst thing that could happen is our death. This dimension is stable, which means that even my death won't affect it. Ray pat the mark and smiled. This mark will let him enter and exit this place. In the silent atmosphere he made, he put the same mark on her front right limb before making himself comfortable and closing his eyes. What I want is a partner that I can trust my back to. And to be honest, the only reason I chose you is I can communicate with you. If you don't want part of this it's okay, but you are welcome here. Just bring this little cute friend with you. He put his hand behind his head and start to doze off, uncaring that he leaning on a beast that can kill him easily. In end he sleeped as he is. The crystal deer paw. Sigh. I look at the human that just I don't understand. Most of humans out there are either greedy or bloody in nature. The first thing that they think of for solving a problem is violence. A living evidence is how they archive power. But the one in front of me, in his tender age, trying to break one of the very principles in human society. Although I never been in human cities or country before, I have seen many human and observed many cultivators. The concept of changing the system is something hard if not impossible. Looking back, I never had this much hard time thinking about something. I look back at the Huma, no Ray with determination, then standing up and waking both of them up. My child and Ray start looking around when they saw me. Ray half sleep said, ah, my floofy pillow, run away. Puff, what this sloppy creature. Now I look at him, although he speak mature for his age, he's still a kid. I smile and look at Ray waiting to wake up. Ray, you said you want to create a new way in this world, right? Way is that? Hearing me he looked at me and smiled. Beckhouse, it's boring to walk a marked road. I mean, where the hell I can found my trill if I do the same as my presedors? I see, I noted, simple, and I can say crazy, but change, bringing change. No, this is the creation of new history. Look at him again. Okay then, let's me follow you and see how you affect the world. I will be in your care. I said, boing my head, but he said, no, it's not you will be in my care, it's I got your back. As I got yours, that partnership, ending his talk with massive and happy looking smile on his face. He looked back at my child and, little one, how about you discover the place around, as it will be your new home for while. My kid, as though his intelligence still little low, he understand him, so he come running to me, tackling me a little before he breaks in sprint to the forest direction. After he despair, Ray nodded toward me, assuring I am ready, so I did the same. Then he start to gather soul power around, forming some kind of array filled with words and runs. After it's completed, he signed to me to take a position inside with him in front of me. I took last look at the forest before setting in front of him. He looked at me seriously. Before we start, I never had asked your name. I look at him and said, I don't have one. He nodded and said, if it's okay, can I give you one? I nodded, so he continues, then how about Sophia? Yes, not bad name, so I will roll with it, so I noted it again. Ray smile and look at the sky for a moment and then back to me. I will start now, just relax and trust me, partner. Saying this, he stamped his leg on the ground, causing the formation to shine brighter, and soul power start to envelope both of us. Inside I feel my strength coming back, a little over a minute and I am back to my prime. Now I feel like something drown my essence out of me and drag it toward Ray. I leave it be, until my surrounding and I found myself standing on the top of a sea, gold red in color, not far away from me. Ray, know that just a spiritual projection of him, which mean I am in his spiritual sea. Before I come closer to him, he start to tremble, before cracks start to appear around his spiritual sea. This is bad, he can't hold my spiritual presence in here. As I was freaking out and was about to seal the cracks, I hear a mature woman voice behind me. You have a good heart. Instead of finding a way to get out, you decide to help. But don't worry, just sleep for now. As I hear that, I doze off. Chapter 8, First Partner and Second Meeting. Third POV. As Ray activates the contract formation, the natural energy starts supplying Sophia, pushing her back to her prime. After that, both of them are sealed inside a doom of soul power, causing Sophia's body to turn into a golden liquid and enter Ray's body. After that, Ray starts to absorb her, forming a link between them. After succeeding in this part, he starts to build his fate ring, and integrate Sophia into his mental space. But here starts his problem. His mental capacity didn't keep up, causing his spiritual sea to start cracking. In this disastrous position, all Ray could do is holding on, and hoping that Sophia will help somehow, but the help comes from an unexpected guest. As time passed and he was on his limit, he started to think, am I going to die again? I didn't even leave the forest, let alone explore the world. As he thought so, he started to feel his spiritual sea littered with cracks more and more. In the heart-stabbing pain, his awareness starts to fade and his feeling starts to get more and more bottled until he almost gives up. He remembers the little kid left behind in Plana, and how he will be the cause of his motherless life. At that moment, his past life's mother's picture comes to his mind. Then all the feelings and the memory he thought he forgets to come back, reaching to the front of his thought, how he lives a bad life in the orphanage, how he fight to get his graduation, how he worked until he was kicked out, how he found his peace in the slow-paced life beside the beach and forest. And finally, how he really loves to play with the orphanage kids next door, something he always will have the time to do. Why? Well, as he likes to say, it is really sad to see a kid growing up without a parent, as that will only lead them to lose their innocence. So I make them at least enjoy a couple of minutes of their childhood that I never had. So at that moment his train of thought changed. If I die alone. No place for me in the seven heavens if I cause someone to become an orphan. No death for me today. With the newfound determination, his spiritual power rise up, stopping the cracks, as he is almost complete the formation of the spirit ring. At that moment he heard a voice he never thought he will hear again this fast. Will is accepted, you pull through. The reason is surprising though. I will help you integrate with the little deer, so take a rest for now. Ray was about to talk. Feel sleepy, ancestor. On the side, the mysterious lady that sent him to this world stood there smiling, rising her left hand as white misty particles started to drift from it, healing any crack in the spiritual sea while it expanded at a visible rate, and leading the ring internalization as his body and bloodline more than enough to withstand the change. She comes closer to Ray and said, that will teach you a lesson in the future. Still, you are in for some scolding later, HMPH, before despairing. That is right, although the whole process was possible, he left two big holes in his theory, as the entire process, as much as it looks different, is based on the same process as absorbing the soul ring, and heavily concentrated on the first one. Ring destruction, ring combat, need enough spirit energy to withstand it or the soul master will die. Ring dissolution, need enough spiritual power to withstand it or the soul master will die. Ring internalization, need enough physical power to withstand it or the soul master will die. The first step is destroying the ring. In the normal bounding, the spirit beast will sacrifice a tiny spark of their essence that got used in the formation to create a soul ring perfect for the other side human, while using the outside formation to absorb the light around and turn it into soul power on the same sequence and compress it until the ring reaches his suitable age depending on host potential. The rest of the energies will be sent to the soul beast to absorb and strengthen his bloodline and body, giving him a boost in the speed of maturity, aging faster. And after that, the same process as the normal ring, but will be passed easily as the ring is custom made with skill originated from the beast. As for what Ray trying to pull, instead of breaking the sacrificed essence, it's breaking and reforming the beast itself as a purely spiritual entity that has a link to him, and not only breaking any link she had before but all the attachment to the world itself too. All there is to say is that Ray was lucky doing it inside Plana. If he pulls this stunt outside, he will definitely be welcomed with one hell lightning storm. Moving to the second problem, which is the capacity for the soul and spiritual power, or in better words, how old the ring anyone can hold in each rank. Usually Soul Master can hold up to 400 years old ring maximum for their first ring. As for Ray, he can hold to 30,000 years old thanks to his strong and unique body martial spirit, and bloodline that strengthen his body more than 10 times anyone in the same rank, giving him a crazy start. But he never took Sophia's intelligence and her crystal element into consideration. As any spirit beast with few exemptions, the more intelligent he is, the stronger his spiritual power becomes, and the upset is true too. The higher the spiritual realm, the wiser they are. In Sophia, a crystal deer can be counted as a semi-spiritual beast. The reason is her crystal element is a high-end double attitude of spirituality and light. In this fanfic I will make the crystal element a mutated form of spiritual power. Deal with it. So in the middle of dissolutioning the ring, which in this case is the mark of the link, and acting as a holder for the fate skill, he got over the capacity he can withstand, basically with him accepting Sophia inside his spiritual sea with no room left to do so. But by forcing and holding up himself together until the end, his sea expands, and with the lady's help, there will be no side effects and some bonuses later on the line. Ray Pav. I open my eyes again in the field of Plana. I look around and close my eyes again, remembering what happens, and after a little revision of my action, I sighed, yup, that was a stupid move. As I was about to stand, I hear in my mind, good that you know. Right after that, crystal particles escaped my body and start to form a body beside me, taking the form of deer but with crystal antennas. Sophia looked at me. You're lucky your ancestor muddled with you, but I haze it's half my fault, as I thought you know my species. You will also know about this special property too, about crystal element. Although she didn't change that much in form, her size shrink to normal size deer. Did anything change? At the question she looked at me. Except for changing to soul entity, I have raised my age to 40k, also the stronger I become the older your ring will become, and got the ability to control my size. But that is not important now. How do I have to see your memories to know you are from another universe? She saw my memory. Well, not something surprising, as I saw hers too moment before I woke up. So, what do you think? She looked at me asking back, in what? I just sighed and said, in the whole thing of me being from another world and this one being fiction work there. She chuckled and said, nothing really. I know for sure that you are good in heart, and I took the right decision being your partner. Other than that, just took your time as you always do. As I got your back, this made me really happy and really feel bad as I almost cause her death, and she chills with it, so I just look at her with a smile. Sorry for before, and I will leave my back to you, my fate partner. Sophia just nodded. Don't worry about it, fate partner. Alright, I never told you about the naming part, I said, realizing, fate partners is the name I give to our relationship, as in way our fate is linked, so fate partner, and I said, activating my lung material soul, and a black ring with a golden design around it rise from my feet hovering behind me. This ring is a symbol of our link. I will name them, Fate Ring. Sophia just nodded in understanding. I see, a fitting name. Now let's look for my child. He caused trouble here, and start to walk into the forest direction. I smile and I was about to follow her, but suddenly I feel like my blood was frozen, then a stabbing pain come from my heart and spread to my whole body. Before I could even react, I lost consciousness. The next thing I know, me sitting in Loja's house on a couch, in front of the lady that sent me to DD World, but this time she was alone. Yo, boya, good to see you still alive and kicking after that stunt. Chapter 9, Relearning Cultivation and Bloodline Awakening. Ray Pav. Yo, boya, good to see you again. I was surprised but something expected, as I had her help before, so I bow my head. Thank you for helping me before, as I almost killed an innocent life. As I was boing I heard a sigh. Raise your head, I was going to scold you but seeing you know your fault and admit it, I will let it go. I feel ashamed, I mean a disaster could be avoided if I make the time to confirm the things, but no I had to jump things, oh me and my hot head. Anyway, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger so let's head up. I look at her, ancestor although I am happy to see you, can I know why I am here? She nodded while making tea, yay, first congratulation and second, thank you. As confused as I am I tried to clarify, excuse me. She put a cup in front of me and take a sip from the other one. Well, at that time when I send you to that world, I got into arguments with the overseer, seeing that you have a unique bloodline that could cause problems. Oh that was surprised for a moment. Wait, what is an overseer? She nodded, as the entity that keeps the balance of the worlds under their observe but not allowed to meddle directly, so the same as I taught. She adds, by the way, you can sometimes find a different overseer to the different alternative world. I look at her trying to figure out what I heard. If I understood, you could find an overseer that oversees the alternative world of One Piece, and a DBZ alternative world too for example. She nodded, exactly, so after we got into an argument, we put a bet, if you follow the normal route of cultivation, he will take out your bloodline, but if you create your way I will get that specific world you are in. Although I don't like a bet on my life at least I will keep my bloodline, not knowing what it is thought is a problem, and helping someone take great care of me won't be a problem, so it is all good. I don't understand, but I will take it as you winning a world to rule and me keeping my things. What is my bloodline by the way? To make a strong being to act like that, the scan wasn't able to give me the name. The foxy lady just chuckled, well not exactly ruling, but close. As for your bloodline, it's the fairy king you have his blood in your veins, and the reason you're here. Also, the reason the scan wasn't able to do is that the **** of overseer blocks most of its settings. It's have more application that I will show you later. I was surprised, but it was not the same as I was thinking probably, as in the Seven Sins Fairy King. And how it's the reason I am here. She laughed at me for that. No, of course not that one, yours is way stronger and has more amazing things to give you. But sadly it's something you should figure alone. She looked at me kindly, you will know what it can do later, but your body now is awaking the bloodline and will take some time so I brought you here to teach you while we have time. In my confused state, she continued to speak, although you have quite the talent and higher capacity, you are still miles away from any master in your world, so I thought it will be a waste not to deepen your wisdom and knowledge, what you think? I was about to accept before remembering Sophia, will Sophia be affected as well? She nodded, yes she will evolve but not as high-paced as you, right now she guarding your body outside. Her change will be little by little and won't affect her directly until you finish, also the very method you use had a different effect than the one you expected, but in a good way so don't worry. I look at her waiting for her explanation, and she did, you create that method to have an effect the same as the one you saw in your past life right? But the effect you got is actually only allowed on contract for each martial soul. And every time you break through will have a soul ring, its age-add ability depends on your partner and you. I nodded in understanding, then I will be in your care master, boing to my new master. As I said so I notice a smile on her lips, but it kinda looks scary, is it my imagination? Third Pav, as Sophia started to walk she heard a thud behind her, the moment she turned back to find that Ray was on his knee grabbing his heart. As she was about to check on him she was blasted away by a soul power wave generated from him, pressing her down. As she stabilized herself, she noticed a tree growing with Ray in the center of her trunk in a fetal position floating in the middle of an energy globe. She still could feel her connection to him, but can't get in his spiritual sea at the moment. After a little check with the spiritual sense, she calmed down as she noticed that he's alright and just his body going through an evolution. But evolution itself is like rebuilding his body from the inside out. She can feel his body decomposing and rebuilding cell by cell, and organ by organ slowly they change to a better version and better capability. Maybe his bloodline is awaking. Thinking so she sat beside the tree that keeps growing. Looking up at the position Ray was in and feeling something is wrong. Take care partner, I will be waiting. Chapter 10 The long lesson end and 2 years change in Plana. Sai look like it's almost time. It's been fun 2 years since you came here. I have to teach you what I can in this short time. Make good use of what you learn, and don't forget to train regularly as training make perfect. In Loge House's living room, a kid in his tens and a lady standing face to face. It's Ray and his mistress, After waking that day in this room, he never left it for the past 2 years, learning a lot of subjects and fields under the lady in front of him. On the first day when she summoned him here, she intended only to help him a little in reinforcing his knowledge, but the kid didn't stop surprising her every day, so she took it upon herself to teach him all the things he could handle in that short time, taking advantage of sleepless space. This space Ray doesn't need sleep and doesn't get tired, and his high talent and astonishing photographic memories. She teaches him every possible theory and practicals in all kinds of fields, from the cultivation of humans to the functionality of the body, passing by planets, to arts and crafting, alchemist, singing, and ending in metalworking, item and spiritual tools crafting. She even teaches him cooking arts, turning him into walking library. The problem here is her sadistic and Spartan way of teaching, as she won't accept anything from Ray below the master level or punishment is in order, and every time she comes up with something new to tort. Cough! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. But all that was not a waste of time or hard work he pull. If Ray was before an easy-going mature kid with a hot head, after the training with her he becomes calm and very stable, as his personality gained more from the tight and disciplined time he passed here. Thanks for having me under you for these 2 years. Bowing his head he continued, if master needs any help from me in the future just call me up, even if it's a little. She waved her hand, it's okay, I enjoy myself as well, as not every day I got discipline that can keep up with my way. Ending here word with mischief smile making Ray flinch. Gee, good to hear that. As he was talking his body started to fade away. The lady noticed that, patting his head with kind and loving smile. Go live your life, and remember, you're my discipline, so don't look down on yourself, and never let others do so, and from today on you will use, as your family name as master for day as mother for life. Ray feel moved and disappear with a chuckle, as pushy as ever Master Alina. Third POV, Plana Dimension. A few moments before Ray wakes up. In what was a grass field now stands a towering tree that can be seen from all over Plana, surrounded by a naturally formed small forest around it. In the middle of its trunk, a glowing globe keeps glowing in multiple colors, adding to the beautiful view a mystique touch. The tree itself feels like was created from some kind of brown gems, and its leaves have a green sheen full of vitality, and the most striking feather is the glowing unknown fruit in all kinds of colors. The tree is not the only change in this place, as all types of trees and plants start to appear around it, leaving only a small platformer with visible grass in the feet of the tree. Turning the whole place into a small forest can put any place in Douluo contain in shame with its beauty, and that was the only visible change. The invisible change was much stronger. The dimension itself gained more capacity and got expanded, followed by the appearance of breathing creature, not intelligent ones, but the normal animals, like birds, bugs, and so on, gaining to some extent a natural ecology system. Below the tree a pair of deers lying down in the shade. The older one will look up to the tree from time to time, while the little one just snoozes out. It was Sophia and her child. In these 2 years, they didn't change much in form and look except gaining more size, but they have absolutely changed. Thanks to the contract, and the purity of soul power here, Sophia rise her age to 80,000, which is a huge leap in the span of 2 years. As the most surprising thing is her child, as he rises his age to almost 10K in the same time, with only absorbing heaven and earth energy, and consuming some planet. As they were lying under the feet of the tree, a spiritual beat coming from the tree alert them, so they both stand up looking up. The little deer jump around in excitement. Mom, is big bro waking up? Sophia nodded. Hope so. As 2 years had passed away, I am really starting to get nerves. She look up just to notice the sphere shrinking. In all honest thought, she like her life in this place. She can laze around and not care about anything, but as the time passed she could feel more the change that happened around, and she could feel the link of Ray to this place get stronger, and so his cultivation start to rise after the change of his body stops 9 months ago, and now he just hit the 30 ranks not 2 days ago. And what surprised her is that he gained his second and third fate ring directly after breaking through, and with 10K more in age for each. Second is 40,000 yo, third is 50,000 yo. Back to the glowing globe. Slowly but surely the glow starts to despair along with the shrinking globe, leaving behind a kid in his tens with a strong body, black hair with red gold ends reaching his waist, with healthy tan skin, and gold-green glowing eyes, and 3 unique pair of dragonfly wings, add to the place he's standing on. It looks like a fairy king from fairy tales books waking up. Chapter 11 Wake Up, and more than one surprise. Third POV. Ray took a deep breath and let it go. His very breath caused the air around to fresh up, and with every breath, the soul and spiritual power around him become purer and purer, to the point that his breathing become a mist with multiple color glow. While inspecting himself, and the place around him, he noticed the tree he was standing in, more specifically the empty place inside the trunk with a large opening in the four directions, but hidden well by the branches and leaves, with glow despairing, it will hardly be noticed. With the thought of wanting to look around, he unconsciously starts to float, taking notice of his wings. He flies around to get used to them, before taking off out of the tree and to a higher altitude just to enjoy the feeling of flying for the first time. When he turned around and looked below, he was greeted by the greatest view he had seen. Wow, it's like I never used my eyes before, or more like I didn't have eyes, to begin with. Thinking so while taking the view in, Ray inspects everything visually. Although I know how beautiful is Plana, now that I can sense and see better, I know for a fact that this place is really a haven. Just the purity of the energy here can make anyone do anything to cultivate just one season here, as the energy not just easy to accumulate, but also can help strengthen the body. It can even help evolve the martial spirit. Sighing at his new discovery, sometimes ignorance can be a blessing, and sometimes can be really the worst curse. He spread his sense covering the whole dimension and observing it carefully. The more he kept going, the more he was happy and thankful for his master. As the scan described before, this place is a haven for any crafter or cultivator. In here, be it metals, herbs, plant or even living being, are for more than one use in many fields, let alone the natural benefit of it. Before, he never know the true value of this space and what it held, as he never bothered to investigate, but after he learned under his master Alina, and reached breakthroughs in several fields, he knows very well that this place can even take over Douluo Dalu world very easy if he want to. But the biggest change and surprise, this dimension becomes ever evolving, meaning the stronger he becomes, the larger and more property this world will have. As he was enjoying his observation, the giant tree start to absorb soul and haven and earth energy, but of a specific element, life. Noticing the anomaly, he comes close and scan it. Scanning. Green element tree, a tree that grew in the place of the first evolution of the Fairy King. Propriety. Vitality leaf. Each leaf gives additional 10 years if consumed, can consume 10 as max. Life lake. Lake of pure liquid life element, in formation phase. Life generation. Absorb light and generate life element soul energy, releasing it in the atmosphere. Fairy eggs. Fruit-shaped eggs hold the first intellectual being of Plana and also the keepers of the life forest. Link to the king. Give the Fairy King a high regeneration, and access to its skills, Sumi immortal body. Wow, so my bloodline affects the world, no wonder that being didn't want to deal with me. Thinking so, Ray got closer to the tree as he had an idea. Scan. Scanning. Ray Solaria. Rank. 36. Bloodline. Fairy King's bloodline, 10% unlocked. The eyes turn gold-green color along with the appearance of 3 pairs of dragonfly wings and little lengthened ears when activated. A unique bloodline from another universe got affected by this world's rules and evolved. Every unlocked stage will follow by the formation of a special tree linked to the holder, and change part of his body to hold a spark of its power. The holder's body can't accept a soul's bone. Every effect the bloodline brings becomes a passive innate ability. First tree. Green tree, sapling, purification effect on the surrounding, high life element earth and heaven energy generation, body link, lungs, minor purification, minor life element generating. Martial spirit, nature lungs, mutation. The chest part of the body glows in golden red light behind the rib cage when activated. Energy purification, innate, every energy that gets inhaled got purified in the process of breathing. Some are absorbed to strengthen the body and rise the cultivation level slowly, while the rest exhalation in the surrounding. Healing breath, innate, can heal any deathly wound or below, can't regrow limbs. Element breathing, innate, breath, one of the elements to attack or form a defense, can control the property of the breath, life, light, fire, crystal. Rings. First fate ring. 30,000 yo, crystal mist breath. Breath out a crystal mist that can be controlled. Shape, density, can add another element, from the element breathing, for some special effect. Crystal bullet. Sped, a crystal-formed bullet, can penetrate any defense higher than user by 1.5 rank. Second fate ring. 42,000 yo, sonic scream. A high-frequency scream emblem with a spiritual attack, transformed any creature hear it unprepared to crystal status. Crystal sealing. Can withhold and seal anything in the same or below the host level of power, can't be unsealed without the maker permission. Third fate ring. 58800yo, crystal shield. Crystal shield that can hold an attack higher than the user by 2 ranks. shock wave counterattack, reflect the power of the attack back. 4th Fate Ring, 82,320 Yo, crystal conversion. Convert crystals generate from the host into other forms of matter or energy depending on the spiritual strength. Closing square bracket. Nature Fox evolved grow pair of fox ears and 9 tails with some gold markings at the root and end of them. Create and manipulate the nature element. Control all the elements depending on the holder's profession and element purity and attitude to it. Fox Shifter innate the ability to shift into fox form, low attack and defense, high agility, and speed. Element form innate allows the transformation of the body to an element fire and light, crystal, life. Any normal physical or soul power infused attack will just pass through without effect, if in the same power level or below. Fate Rings, power level, an all-out fight of strength against normal soul masters, 59. Wow, that was, I don't know, I expected some boost in my cultivation, but not to wake as an elder bond master. And what the hell with all these blowing mind skills, I just want to enjoy my life, not conquer the world. Before continuing his analysis, he senses something coming close at high speed. Looking below to see his partner and her child running in the air in his direction, but he was surprised, is that air step? But looking carefully, the soul and spiritual power control in her technique is far better than the one I created, as expected of Sophia. She even got her child to learn it and his use is quite good in 2 years and maybe less. Ray floats down slowly and waits for them as he got slammed by a rocket, but not the size he expected. He smiles, petting the little deer. It's been a while, how is life going? But to his surprise he answers, very good, we don't need to run, we can eat all we want, and more importantly, I can run anywhere without bothering anyone since I learned this skill. It's awesome here. A surprised look saying, what going on? Appear on his face as he looks at Sophia after he sensed she almost reaches the 90,000 Y. So he asks, good to see you again, Sophie, but it's been 2 years since I was out, right? How did you and this little one advance so fast? Sophia sighed and came closer to him. It's good to see you again. I was kind of worried after some time, but all good now. And I don't know either, probably has something to do with what happened to you. As for Sai, he just keep running around eating the planet he likes, and probably you know more about those than me. Ray nodded and looked back at the deer. So you name him Sai. Good name, but I was surprised to see you use air steps and kind of advanced, no less from you. Sophia looked away and said, well, it's safe here and kind get boring without anything to do, so I use your memory to learning it. As they talk, the little deer jump up as if remembers something. He looks at Ray, right, big bro, you know tag. Ray melt at the naming he pick and answer with a stupid smile on his face, you mean the game, of course, I know. The deer come closer to Ray before touching him with his tail. Your turn. And vanish, making Ray smile crumpled, and he looks at Sophia. You teach him that game, and also quick step. Sophia laughed at his reaction before giving him a toothy grin and said, as I said, it's starting to get boring, and he was waiting to play with his big brother. Then she started to land before saying, why don't you put those wings to use? You don't want your little brother to wait, right? Laughing at the end. Ray looked surprised and then looked down and said, she definitely did it on purpose, knowing I hate tag games, but since when she becomes this mischief? He shook his head and took off in Sai's direction. Chapter 12 Testing New Capability. Ray Pav. After playing around with Sai for a couple of hours while testing the ability of my wing, and its awesome speed, agility, and hardly I feel any consummation in soul power under high-speed flight. Now I am standing in front of Sophia ready to fight as a test of where I stand. After preparing, as Sai give the signal, Sophia appears behind me, sweeping her tail down on my head. I dodge to the right, causing the ground I was standing at to turn crystal, using a skill from the beginning. I open the space between us as this skill of Sophia cause anything come in contact with her tail to turn crystal wipe. Starting to use the first and second skills of my lung material art, using the crystal bullet to gain space between us, then using the mist to hide an interface in her spiritual sense, prepared to attack unnoticed. At that moment, I sense Sophia gathering spiritual and soul energy in her mouth, she trying to use a sonic scream. Probably thinking of spreading the gathering mist, I infused my crystal element in the mist close to me, and activate my shield skill. After the attack hit, all the mist around me despaired except the close one in the shield. Taking this chance, Sophia sprinted in my direction to catch me unprepared, but the moment her antennas touch my shield, I activate the counter shock wave, sending the absorbed attack back to her, sending her flying. Sophia stabilized herself using air steps to stay floating. I deployed my wings and flow behind her, reinforcing my arms and leg with soul power, intending to fight in close combat to test my body. Third POV. After sending Sophia flying and going after her, Ray starts to use his material arts to fight. In the heat of the fight, Sophia noticed that Ray is improving in the fight, with every punch, kick, and dodge becoming more refined and natural, with his movement becoming sharper and more dangerous, causing Sophia to struggle at the end to even land a hit on him. What a Guinness! The more we fight, the more he becomes better, not only in his attacks but also enemy reading and environmental factors used in a fight. Brilliant, truly brilliant. Thinking so, a smile greases her face, as she starts to enjoy the fight. The fight starts to get heated. Out of nowhere, he deactivates his bloodline while defending, causing him to fly away. But in the process, he activated his nature fox material soul, kicking the air and leaving a yellow spark behind to appear right on top of Sophia, ready to punch her down. Sophia got caught off guard, as the very activation of his martial soul caused the element around to destabilize. In desperation, she swings her tail on him, but it passed through his torso, like it cut flames, to ends up slammed to the ground. Ray looked happy. Yes. That clean hit. Noticing later that Sophia didn't pick up, he landed beside her. You okay? But before he noticed a tail warp around his leg, dropping him to the ground. Now we're even. Well, still lying, Sophia said with a laugh. That was your element body, right? That was cheating. If someone doesn't have a way to infuse his spiritual power in his attack or empower your soul power, which is basically possible to only soul Douluo or higher, you definitely a nightmare to your enemy. Ray humbly said, I know that this innate skill is strong, but probably anyone higher than me by 2 ranks can land an attack, not much of a cheat. Sophia looked at him as if seen an idiot, then realized something. Except your ancestor lady, did you ever meet a cultivator before? Ray titled his head and shake his head in denial. Sophia changes her position to face him. Then you should make some times to look around the human settlement. She continued with a serious face. From what I saw so far, someone with the pure soul as yours outside has to be at least a soul Douluo, and that without taking your ultimate element into consideration. Ray was surprised and started to chuckle, causing Sophia to get confused. Why you are laughing? Ray spread his hand and legs before looking at the giant tree in front. You see, while my body was evolving, I was called by my master somehow, and I was learning under her. He stopped talking, noticing Sai coming and sitting beside him after shrinking his size. Big bro, pat me. Pat me. Smiling and did what he asked and continued to speak. So, after I came back here, I know the true value of this place, and also the meaning of what I trying to pull up. Sophia looked at him with a happy smile but didn't stop him, just keep listening. She feels that after he woke up, his character have some changes. He didn't lose his happy and sunny personality, but somehow he becomes more mature, not like he wasn't before, more like he was living in a dream until now. He was seeing everything from outside without knowing that he's taking things lightly, but now he gave the image of a man of responsibility. Ray, not noticing, continue. When I come here, I only have the idea to live my life away from the problems and conflicts while exploring the world and its mystery without care. He looks at Sophia, and the reason for me to even come with the idea of the bond contract is open a route for me to interact with Soul Beast without fear on my life. He looks around again with a sad smile, but here we are. I have the resource, the ability, and the way that can change the world to better or worse, all of it in my hand. He put his palms in front of him, and instead of feeling happy and pride from my strength, I feel. Sophia cut him off with a smile, scared. Ray clenched his hand before nodding and putting his face in sleeping Sai Furry's back. After a while he feels a soft sensation on top of his head, looking up, and found Sophia patting his head with her tail end. I honestly don't know how to help you, as I don't really know what you feel. Stopping her petting, she shrank in size and sitting behind him, but I know for sure that you have a rightful heart, and I assure you that whatever the change you cause, I will be there to back you up and answer anything I can. After all, we're bonded and your fate is mine. Closing her eyes, just live the way you see right and leave the rest to the future. It is called the future for reason. Ray lay at her side closing his eyes. I see. Feeling at ease he fell asleep. Unknown to both of them, 3 shadow lights were at the high end of plain sky monitoring them with smiles. Chapter 13, First time in Shrek City 1. Third POV. Ray woke up in the light of dusk, something new even for him, as the night and day in Plana were just acquired after he woke up his bloodline. Taking in the view, he addressed Sophia. So what you want to do, Sophie? I will be going out for a while. I want to go and see where I am compared to other cultivators, so are you coming along or staying here? Sophia nodded. I will tag alone, as I want to see the human world, then asked unsure, can Sai stay here? Rai looked at her weirdly, of course he will be staying here, are you expecting me to take him to the human city? Although he passes 100 years, he is still almost 10,000 years, you know. Sophia looks away, not what I mean, I thought we weren't allowed here if you were not here. Ray looks at her with a serious and angry look, this the last time I hear you say something about allowing or not allowing, you are not my servant or slave, you are my partner, and I think of you as a family, so just ask what you need and if I can I will definitely help, if I can't we will figure a way out together, understand? Sophia freaked out at first when she saw him angry, but a warm feeling filled her heart as he ended his words, so she just lowers her head and nodded, but her eyes have a happy shine to them. Ray stands up causing Sai to wake up, he pats him on the head and said, I and your mom will go out to take care of something, how about you continue your sleep under the shade while we out? Sai looked at him and his mother, can I come too? Sophia came closer, no you can't this time, and we will not be out for long. Sai pouted a little, earning a chuckle from Ray, how about you keep an eye on the big tree for me until I got back, can I leave its protection for you? Sai's eyes shine, and he jumps up expanding his size and puffing his chest, leave it to me, nothing will even put a scratch on it with me here. Ray just put a V sign for Sophia to see, only to snort and slipe to his spiritual C. But not seconds after he hear her surprise voice, what happened here? He was confused, so he got his conditions inside as well to get surprised, but what he saw was the same red gold C, but added with multi other colors tint, and whole another level in the size. If we go by DD3 classification I need a little to hit the abyss realm. Thinking so he notices that there is some kind of islands in his C9 or barren will on have a tree identical to the green tree outside. Scan. Scanning. Green tree, spiritual link, a spiritual link to the life tree. I see. Ray looks back at Sophia with death pain look, we will look at it later, I will head out for now, my mind will blow up if I keep thinking of everything that comes up with this bloodline of mine. He started to fade in the laughter of Sophia. Opening his eyes, he got out of Plana and got inside his house while picking his clothes to shower and change. He hears Sophia, are we in some kind of closed dimension? Ray looks surprised at her question, you know we are inside the artifact house, I got right? Sophia just chuckled, no, I know that it's just the very space around this house is sealed, no one will feel or hear anything from the inside, while also the outside attacks won't even reach the house. Ray spread his sense and noticed the same, but also the level of protection is crazy. Sai, from my estimation even Super Douluo will have some trouble in breaking in. Sophia hummed, quite the protective master you got there. Pretending not to hear the comment, he started to get clean and then put on his clothes. With a white shirt and pants, and a black coat with golden markings at the edges he stands in front of the little tree that works as entry, with a smile remembering the first day he is it, then looks at his new artifact left leg. It's been 3 years, short, but I quit the change on myself. He did change physically and mentally, from a weak child, he now looks like a teen in his 15 or 16-year-old, not 12 years old, with more mature and stable mentally. Putting his hand in front willing the house to change its form, the place in front of him started shining along with the little tree, and soon after he found a tree necklace in his hand. Cool, pocket house, Sophia commented saying, more like necklace's house. Ray chuckled, cool name, I am keeping it. As he answered he started to head to Shrek City before Sophia said, surpass your aura, you don't want people to start to faint, also what's wrong with that mist that comes out with your breathing? Ray nodded and surpass his aura, as it's something that come along with his cultivation technique. Before he didn't mind it as he wasn't around humans, but if humans were beside him they will feel the same pressure they felt from the savage beasts and that just bypass effect. Let's not talk about using his pressure technique. Then come to a problem when he surpasses his purification ability he starts to feel uncomfortable. What's wrong? Sophia asks noticing his uncomfortable feeling. Ray answer, I don't know, I can surpass this ability but not forever, 8 hours are my max, man I feel like choking. Want to head back to Plana until you figure something out? Ray shakes his head, no, we will just look around, I can hold that much. After traveling Bitewing the forest tree for a couple of hours while trying new things with his martial souls and fate skills, he was greeted with an open field with long walls surrounding a big city. In the eastern corner of the city you can see the shadow of the big tree. Finally Shrek City, Thinking so he make sure of the seals he put on himself, he headed to Western Gate. Chapter 14 First time in Shrek City 2. Third Pav. As Ray got closer to the gate, although he's not devilishly handsome he's quite the looker, and with his newfound love for colors, especially white, he was sure will draw attention, in a positive and negative way, so he just put the hood to lower the attention on him. Passing the gate without problems, he was greeted by a crowded street, with all types of merchandise and stores crowded by all kinds of people, some normal, some cultivator, but the most notable thing is the order and the low crimes. Crowds that big bond to drow thievery and robbery, but none was noticed by Ray until this moment. After walking around and testing some of the street's food, he found a coffee shop close to the academy with a calm atmosphere and very few people. He enters to see a classic wooden interior with dozens of tables and chairs, and a long bar counter. The side wall replaced by the glass make it possible to see the tree of Shrek Academy from the inside. After ordering a coffee and sitting in the island chair, he starts a conversation with Sophia mentally. What do you think about this city? Sophia just answered in a bored voice, what there to think? Except for the tree you facing and her great connection to this world, I will feel ashamed if I am surprised with anything more than what you show me, and most cultivators that we come across, stronger or weaker than you have hardly touched the purity and density of your soul power. Nodded at her, Ray add, I thought so too, but the very connection of the tree is interesting and I can sense consciousness in it, and it's have similar property if not the same as our life tree. Sophia just hummed, but it's way weaker than ours and not generating a specific type of energy, just purifying, and little generation of all attitude of energy. He was looking outside in the tree direction, as the bar lady put his order, here is your order young man. He looked up to see a woman in her 40s smiling at him, but he know very well that she was older, thanks to the high density and level of her soul power. Ray nodded, thank you. As she was leaving Ray took the chance and scanned her causing him to almost choke on his drink. Scanning. Name. Xian Song. Rank. Super Douluo 96. Title. Green Shadow Douluo. An elder of Shrek Academy and Shrek Treasure Pavilion master passes the time either inside the Sea God Island cultivating, in the Treasure Pavilion, or in her private coffee to observe normal life outside the academy under the name Lady Yan. Ps. Love to collect treasure and talents for Shrek. Outside Ray was calmly drinking his coffee, which was good by the way, but inside. What the hell a pavilion elder doing in here, and as bartender no less. Sophia freaked out at his inner squirming, what happened? While drinking, Ray observed the coffee shop and found that almost all the visitors have some kind of connection to Shrek. How? Almost all the guests here have green or red budgets of Shrek. The lady just now, she's the Shrek Treasury Pavilion Master, and an elder of Inner Shrek. Sophia sighed and said, what's weird about it? From your memory, the old man Sea God Pavilion Master, the head of Shrek liked to lie down beside the kids' housing, and sang, I like the youthful atmosphere around here, so an elder working in coffee not that surprising. Looking at the lady working on other people's orders he chuckled, yeah, Shrek is really a field with odd people. Going back to his drink and looking at the tree his thinking started to turn back to his own ideas about this world. Looking at that elder song is at the Super Douluo level, probably it's almost the time for the Asura Eyes generation, but the specific time is unknown, as from what I pick around, the Sun Moon Empire still hadn't made a move at Douluo Contain, they are still at the politic level, and the last tournament was 1 year ago with Shrek's inner student win. If my Hayes is right I have 3 years until the plot start. How? You like the view? It's Shrek City's best if not the world's best view. Most visitors like the view here. Looking away from the tree to the source of the voice, he found the elder song clean a couple of cups. Yeah, good atmosphere, and not many negative things to be said about the city itself, no less expected from Shrek I guess. Then he raises an eyebrow asking, but how do you know I am not from the city? She just chuckled, although I can't see your face, I can see your hand, and brown tinted skin is very rare her, I can count them with my fingers. And the way you look at the life tree, anyone who lives here become used to it so they won't enjoy its view while drinking coffee. Ray nodded and pulled down his hood, so the visitor is easy to spot. But the lady looked at him before nodding, I see why you put your hood up, put down the last cup, before taking her drink and setting down to face him. So what brought you here, if you don't mind chatting with this old lady? Ray keeps his calm facade, okay, that sealed the deal, she definitely senses something in me. Will thinking he answered, of course, as Elder's world is always full of wisdom. The lady was surprised at his answer but nodded in approval, indeed, but not always in a positive light. She takes a sip of her drink. Ray just look at her. Actually, I am sightseeing while looking for inspiration. Elder title her head to the side, that it. Never knowing what she expected, Ray nodded in confusion, and she just said, I was thinking that you want to try to enter Shrek Academy. Thought your age is probably over the limits, but they can accept you with how strong you are. Ray flinched and sighed, how even did you know I am that strong? The laughing elder answered, well, my age is not just for show, you know, and although you hide it will else still can sense your cultivation, also you know my level, right? So good luck next time. Ray looked at her, so I was an open book. Elder Song just waved her hand, no, I am just stronger than you by miles, just your presence in here rises the temperature. Normal people and cultivators won't notice, but a strong enough person will pick the change. Add with that, stylish, get up of yours, anyone keen enough will take a second look at you. Ray put his head on the table, so I was standing up more than hiding. Told ya, Sophia said, pissing him off. Shut it. As a fact, after they entered, Sophia told him to get rid of the hood as he drew more attention with it in daylight, but he wasn't willing. So care to tell me what you will do next? Hearing the elder words, Ray raised his head and looked at the outside. Right, what next? With my strength now, I can at least hold my ground against Soul Emperor, or a little bit higher, and as the moment I don't see risks if I keep low-key, and worst scenario I can jump to Plana. He looks back at the older thinking, I hope this won't bite my ass later. Can you tell me if there is any property for sale around this place? If it's not a problem, of course. The lady looked at him for a moment and said, I have one in mind, but are you really not trying to enter Shrek? Chapter 15 Deal and New Connections. Elder Song looked at him for a moment and said, I have one in mind, but are you really not trying to enter Shrek? Ray just answered confusedly, is it that surprising that I wasn't trying? Elder Song waved her hand, no, just me being an active elder trying to rescue a talent to my academy, but I won't force you. Any way I can help, but you know that property in Shrek City is expensive, right? Remembering he had only a dozen of gold coins in his pocket now, he scratched his head, yeah. Sophia cut him, why not try and ask her about selling the medical planets you have? Take it directly inside those boxes from before, and take this chance to build some connection, as not every day you meet an elder from the inner court of Shrek Academy to have a chat, and even if you are not really into entering Shrek, keep a door open for yourself. Ray keeps silent for a while, then look at the elder, if you would, can you show me the way to the treasure pavilion? I have some things I could sell, and probably will fetch quite the price. Elder Song looked surprised for a moment and said in excitement, oh, what do you want to sell? Ray just looks at her weirdly, acting the, not knowing you to show, part, and as if noticing his train of thought she coughed in embarrassment as she noticed too her old habit start to get out. I may not look it, but I am elder of that pavilion, then showed her badge to Ray. Ray sighed in his mind, I know that, but tried to play the surprised part, that pavilion master. I know that a super Douluo this close to Shrek has definitely something to do with it, then adapt a questioning face, but what are you doing working here? Elder Song just took a sip while thinking, so not only did he figure out my cultivation but also the specific rank and that while me surpassing and hiding it, that's some interesting sense capability, and his what? 15 or 16-year-old, a talent worthy of cultivating. Working here is just a hobby of a kind for me to relax from time to time. As you can see around, I don't have that many guests as I don't open this coffee shop that regularly. I see, said Ray, not noticing what he said before just made her more interested. He took 2 crystal boxes. Never I thought they will get useful that fast. Those boxes were things he come up with while traveling. He found that by compressing the mist he breathes out in his skill and giving some property, then he can keep that object without despairing thanks to the crystal seal skill. So he makes a few things. One of them is the sealing box. They can seal anything put inside and keep it in the same state as the first day, but each one has its use. The use of the first one according to Mr. Scan, pick. Sealing box, fire element, unique box formed by using compressed light fire infused crystal and sealing ability, giving it a special property to reserve any fire element object in the same state as they put inside, minor purification of the object inside. And the second one, sealing box, light element, unique box formed by using compressed light crystal and sealing ability, giving it a special property to reserve any light element object in the same state as they put inside, minor purification of the object inside. After taking out the boxes he put one specific herb from Plana inside the second, and putting a pill inside the other. the pill is a cleansing flame pill less than my BS made pill greater than. And opened the first one for the elder to see. Her reaction was surprisingly calm after seeing what was inside. This is Sky Azure Ivy. She looks carefully at the plant, then uses her spiritual sense to make sure. Then look at him. Where did you get this? It has hardly any record of founding one for 5,000 years. Ray nodded. Yeah, this actually was given to me alone with this pill form my master. He opens the second box that contains a level 6 pill cleansing flame pill. We'll talk about the ranking of profession later, causing an amazing herbal smell alone to hit the elder. Seeing her surprised look of her, he explained, this is a 6th-level pill my master made, has the effect of cleaning any fire cultivator's soul power, helping them to alleviate their attitude purity to a higher level with the possibility to break through. The elder looked surprised but asked, this pill is useful, but are there any limits of how it will be used? Or have some side effects? As to be honest, it a miracle pill to be true. Ray chuckled, of course it is true, it's right in front of your eyes. The effect it had is the result of multi-herbal essence blended perfectly. The pill itself doesn't have any side effects and benefits a 50 to 60 level cultivator best. Any higher and the pill will have less and less effective by 10% each rank. The only negative effect that you can only consume only one every 10 years and don't work after reaching a certain level of purity. Saying that, Ray took a sip from his drink while Sophia's mocking voice rose in his mind, smooth. You could win that acting prize in your past world. What called again? Oscar. Right. Hearing that rolls his eyes. In fact, he totally bulls his way through right now. The pill was actually his creation. At the 2 years of his learning, he become a 7-wing alchemist under his master's approval, among other things. Elder Song nodded and started to think, I probably find a gem, just the box will have a high price on the market, which he definitely didn't notice, let alone what is inside, and from his way of talking about the pill he is probably an alchemist or disciple of one, which is very rare around this time as very few can be seen around lately, maybe. She looks Ray in the eyes seriously, any chance to meet your master? Ray put on a wary smile as he was accepting the question, knowing very well how the inside situation in Shrek. Sadly no, the last time I meet him was couple days ago. He put me in the entrance of the Stardew Forest saying, I will come looking for you later, go and experience life. Before despairing, the elder looks at him to find any lies, but in the end, she smiled, residing not to chase the matter. I guess everyone has a quirky or two. She closed the boxes and then looked at the empty coffee shop. She used her soul power to close the door, then stand up heading upstairs. Follow me, before stopping and turning back. I never had your name, did I? Ray smiled. It's Ray Solicia, an honor to meet you, elder, bowing his head. Elder Song smiles. Follow me to the office, we will talk there. Ray looked around for a moment after sitting on the office couch, so I will presume that you have a deal for me. The older nodded, pushing the paper to him. Those are this coffee shop property paper, and the free land behind it. Ray took a look and nodded in surprise. You will sell it to me? I appreciate that, but I want a place to build a house, not to start a business. Elder Song nodded. I was going sell it anyway, so I took the chance, and in honesty, this thing you're trying to sell has a high value than you think, so I need some time before I give you a specific price. Ray looks at her. So you will sell me this coffee shop, but you do not know the specific price of the herb and pill, so I will get this place in trade. Elder Song ID looking seriously. Yes, also I will be honest here, the value of those things is higher than this coffee shop, so I will bring the rest of the money later. What do you think? Ray just keeps silent and then nodded in agreement. Chapter 16 Invitation, and See God Pavilion Meeting. Stopping her world and staring at him for a while, as one of the elders in Shrek, I will like to invite you to study at Shrek Academy. From what I saw, you have great talent as a cultivator, and at a young age, you have great control over your spiritual and soul power. Stopping her words because of a wary smile on Ray's face, but she continued after with a smile. As for the most important thing for use in Shrek, the personality of the person we intend to nurture, something I liked in you the moment you enter my view. Ray was confused about the last part but didn't bother asking as he intended to refuse at the moment. Thanks for your high praise, but I am not planning to enter Shrek at the moment. Elder Song was confused, as in any place you go every cultivator will dream of such a chance, but the young man in front of her refused without a second thought. She didn't get offended and asked calmly, can I know the reason? This is probably the first ever someone refused a direct invitation from an elder. At least I will like to know the reason. Ray just sighed in answer. the reason is not that complicate. He look at her and then continue, it will be my honor to study at Shrek, but you see I kinda feel uncomfortable in crowded places. The elder looked at him unsure about his answer, so you refuse because you don't like crowded places. Giving, are you serious or joking right now, 'cause I don't buy a word, face. Ray looks back with an apologetic face, it's not I hate crowded places, it's that I can't stay in a place with many people, something to do with my own martial soul. Elder Song sighed seeing that he was refused for a reason she can't ask about openly. Well, I won't force you but the invitation is still open for you. Look for me in the treasure pavilion if you want to accept, putting a badge of the treasure pavilion and couple papers in the table. Now will you fill the paper so I can transform the property under your name? Ray did as she said, filling out the paper. After finishing he asked, any inn close by? Elder Song flinches for a moment after reading the paper, then as if nothing happened, put the papers in her storage ring and answers him, you can stay here, I don't pass the night here, and there is a room beside the office, use it, as from now on you're the owner. She passed him a bunch of keys before heading to the door to leave. Remembering something she points at the boxes in her hand, are the boxes from your master too? Ray just shook his head, no, those are my own creation, nodded at his words and left. What Ray didn't know was that this meeting will help him in a lot of ways in the future, but also will cause him quite the headache. Elder Song Pav. I look back at the coffee shop before I head back to the inner court. In my way I send a signal inviting the elders to a meeting, as what I find about the young man can change many things, with his presence alone, and there is his unknown mysterious master. Just the ability to teach a talent like that kid. Add with him probably been an alchemist, rise both their value. After arriving I found my fellow elder waiting for me. This probably the first time in years that you propose a meeting. Elder Zahn said in his usual lazy tone, I bow, thank you for your presence elder, as I have called for this meeting for an uncertain reasons. All the elders look at me with questing faces. I start to tell about my meeting with the kid and how I interact with him. Then I put the boxes on top of the table. After inspecting them and what is inside I give the chance to any question, and the first surprisingly my son-in-law, this young man, you said he refused because of some problem in his material soul. Did he give any lead to that problem? I shake my head, no, he didn't want to talk about this, so I didn't meddle more. Then the brat Shouj asked, did you by any chance figure out his cultivation? Exactly the question I expected from him, yes, that was part of the reason I call for this meeting. I took the property paper I give him to fill and made them float to the main site in front of Elder Mew. He is a soul elder and probably not far away from ancestor level. No one reacted but Elder Mu's next word made them stand up. That interesting indeed, a 12 years old soul elder, and while we are talking, he's using some kind artifact to rebuild the coffee shop he obtains, probably something he got from his said master. Al the elder surprised for a moment then used their spiritual sense to look at him, including me of course. What we notice is the building is reshaping and transforming, and after the change finished, we couldn't sense the inside anymore, as if the space inside was cut off. Lin and Qian Duo stand up in surprise. To think that an artifact could have this effect, the duo said in the same breath. I chuckle at their reaction. No matter how old you still get excited after seeing metallic things doing wonder. Thinking so I drop my last bomb. What do you think of those boxes? I asked the elders. Elder Mew took one and looked at it carefully, meaning he really got interested. After looking at it for a while, he looked at the other before letting a sigh and said, Elder Song, what you think about the kid? Causing all of us to get silent. After arranging my thoughts, in all honesty, all I could say is that he's an easygoing kid, and quite the introvert, not by choice but probably because of the environment he lives in before, as he give me the impression of someone raised in solitude away from any human interaction. Elder Zahn nodded, that is probably the reason his master sent him out alone. I continue, he's a good kid and probably will have a great result if he joins Shrek, but honestly, I can't think of anything we have he will join for. Brat Shouj asks, how? Although he has a master, we probably can still teach him better. I look at him with a weird face, but before I talk he was spit at by my daughter, you becoming snail mind aren't you? She continue, with that pill alone he can rise his attitude, and probably his rank, but he sold it instead, and that sky azure ivy is something to spare from the continent for almost 5,000, and he sells it for a simple property, so he either has more of it, or have no use for him, or simply it has no value in his eyes. After thinking he stops talking and sat down. So I look at Elder Mew, if I may, what you sow in the box. Elder Mu put the ivy in a storage box, then picked the crystal one. You may know that he just controlled his soul power to emblem this box and give his property right. All the elders except Xiao and Zan nodded. Mu just chuckled and said, well, it's wrong, he form his own soul power and seal it in this form, probably a soul skill, but the interesting thing is this. Said while putting his soul power in the box causing him to blow to mist, but the surprise is that the mist contains a trace of ultimate light element. Elder Zan looked at the mist around and said, weak, but I was right, it's really ultimate light, and if I get this right the other one has ultimate fire element. Chapter 17 See God Pavilion Decision, and Hidden Problems. Third Pav. Elder Zan looked at the mist around and said, weak but I was right, it's the ultimate light, and if I get this right the other box has the ultimate fire element. All the elders look surprised, a kid not even 12 years old has 2 ultimate elements, something even Shrek doesn't have half of it, and he has high if not impossible control over it. While they thinking of how to act, the pavilion started to glow, then the sea god tree starts to absorb the mist invisible passé, releasing more pure haven and earth energy than before. The whole place was silent. This was the first time they saw the sea god tree react like that into what? A little soul power trapped in the box. If that was the effect of something he made, what effect he will have if he come here? All the personnel of Shrek's inner court feel the increase in energy some even had broken through in their cultivation. After the effect finally end Elder Mu asks, Elder Song, since you are the one who brought this issue, I will have you keep in contact with him, and if he agrees, bring him to meet me. The Elder Song was surprised, I will, but are you sure it's okay to bring him here? Elder Mu smiled saying, don't worry, with this level of element purity, being an evil master is impossible, and the Sun Moon Empire is not stupid enough to send a kid with an ultimate element as a spy. Elder Song nodded, then Elder Mu dismissed the meeting. Good, so the meeting ends here. If anyone wants to make a contact with him feel free as this is probably what his teacher wants with sending him here. All the elders take off after that leaving Elder Mu and Zan alone. Zan, did you notice? He nodded in response, the same mist from that time, right? Elder Mu nodded, I guess we can be at ease for now since is not a soul beast. Zan looked at him for a moment before starting to head out, for now at least. At the coffee shop, after Elder Song Tok here leaves, Ray stands in his place thinking, I was intending to take a little look and head back, but I end up buying a house side, what happened just happened, let go with the flow. He took the tree necklace and start to tweak the design. Sophia got outside, and took a very little form, that can fit on top of his lap. Are you going to use that artifact? Won't that bring problems? Ray smiled, no it won't, as the only ones who could sense anything I do now is from Shrek and by telling the elder before that I have a master. It will lead them to think that I got this from him, so they won't take action as they don't know his power level add with the hint I give about him being alchemist, a very rare proficient, that they really need right now as their pavilion master is poisoned, so they definitely will not try to get on my or my master bad side, at least until they confirm the truth. Sophia looks at him, you're quite the strategist yourself and you say you're easygoing. Ray chuckled, easygoing won't protect me from evil intent, saying he continued to make his new house design adding a basement as a workshop, and building a training center in the land behind him, also making the ground floor a dining space with tables and a bare counter. Sophia asked, are you going to keep the coffee shop? Ray shook his head, no I will serve drinks and snacks only, alcoholic at night, and normal drinks in the morning, add more confusion to Sophia, as in her presumption he just wasting time, but he explained. You said before that connection will be useful in the future, so I will take a page from the Elder Song book. But I won't be serving the normal drink in here. He stopped with a grin, activating the tree necklace and causing the house to start to morph and change its shape for a while then stopped. In the end, Ray is still in the office room but he changes its shape and inside design to his liking, and then he picks Sophia and sat in the armchair close to a chimney. Since I have a fast rise in cultivation and it's not stable at the moment and I have a lot of energy remain unabsorbed or refined in my body, I won't be focusing on that, so I will try to expand my connection and train some alchemy and crafting. Sophia nodded, so this shop will be the link to outside, but what will you do about all the questions they will have? Ray just raised his hands, what can I say, I have a great master, causing Sophia to burst into laughter, ha ha ha, ultimate excuse, causing Ray to laugh too. After discussing how to maintain the shop and the type of consumables that will be served, they jumped to playing a little with Sai for a while. Ray got back to the house, took some material in the storage, and got back to the workshop. He's intending to make some rip-off coffee and drink machines. Although they have coffee and other types of drinks here, the preparation is still backward a little, and he also wants to make some special cups to be used as a symbol for his shop. After he finishes making what he needed, the sky starts to brighten, so he cleaned up and sat in meditation for a couple of hours, solidifying his cultivation and strength by absorbing the remaining energy in his body, but he found that the quantity has increased. After some inspection, he found out that the course was him intensely surpassing his purification, causing the rest of the energy purified to enter his bloodstream, causing him to freak out. Damn. That was close. The course was simple, yet again he almost coursed his own death because of a stupid reason. After all, strong or not, there is a limit to the body. Luckily he figured it out faster, or else his fate will be boom. Ray, what happened? I feel you're kind pissed off. Hearing Sophia, he calmed down and started to recount what happened. Sophia sighed. I really should have found a solution to your reckless tendency. Ray was surprised. Excuse me. I know I am a little reckless, but it's not that big problem. Not second passed and Sophia materialized, head-butting Ray, send in him flying to the wall. Say that after revising what you did, and that other problem of you, except that lady, you don't accept anything from others, be it advice or whatever, and it starts to become visible by the day. She look at Ray, cool down, and think a little about how you start to act after you wake up. Ray sat down after the shock he took from the hit paw, and he realized where she come from. Closing his eyes, he let his breath slow down and back to normal. After a while the bedroom was filled with mist, then his mind cleaned. After while he opened his eyes and sigh, sorry, probably my blood is boosting my ego without noticing, as literally had a king in its name. And before ending his world he was slapped on top of his head by Whip Tail. Ah, what was that for? Sophia scoffed at him. What I do with an apology? If you realize the problems and know the cause, all good. Then she turns to head back. Ray realized that she wasn't angry because he yelled at her, but because she didn't like the fact that he didn't realize he was affected by his bloodline. He smiled. Thanks, Sophie. She just nodded and despaired. Chapter 18, Solutions in the Psi Evolution. Third POV. Ray sighed after Sophia left and shook his head. I will have to make it for her later, but now, I should find a solution to this stupid problem of mine. Ray intended to open the shop but put it for later. Now he intended to find a way to get around the innate purification he had without causing himself to explode, and the only thing he had in mind is a mouth mask that will help him somehow. The purification energy he emits in the form of mist doesn't have a negative effect. On the contrary, it is too potent to be absorbed directly by anyone below the same rank as his, and that is in the lowest output. Sitting at the desk he starts to write something, and then he takes some design paper and starts to draw the design of his mask with total concentration. Time passed, and without noticing the sky becomes dark between all the redoing and correction. As the outside becomes completely dark he put off his tools and looks at his work. He activated the house designer interface, he put it on the desktop like a big tablet, and he used it also as a tablet to store some of the things like designs and pill formulas and the like. All the rooms have the same touch screens linked to one database. He put some of the modification made the first floor to multi-private rooms with varied sizes and variety, bedroom, mini library. The reason for this is after little thinking, he will make a face mask that has a space connected to the rooms on the first and second floor, siphoning and storing half of the energy heat purification inside storage around them. On the other hand, he will use the rooms to control the output and the attitude of the energy inside the room. Of course, not anyone will be allowed in them. He will use it like VIP-only treatment. As for the other half, it will compress and be stored in a detachable storage unit on the sides of his mask, and he will change them every time they become full. The reason is he simply wants to attract the attention of the soul engineer department of Shrek, as he has a lot of ideas and designs he wants to put out for public use. Ending his work on the additional thing like the console and membership card, and so, he stands up heading to the workshop again, but he remembers Sophia, so he calls her mentally. Sophie, I will be in the workshop if you need something. But to his surprise, can you come here? Psi is evolving, can you take a look at him? He was surprised but nevertheless jumped to Plana, and what great him is a big crystal rising to 8 or 9 meters with Psi in the center sleeping, and Sophia looking at him from the side. Ray scanned Psi and he was blowing up by what he read. Scanning. Name. Psi evolving. Crystal deer is in the process of evolving into ultimate light deer. Thanks to the blessing he got from the overseer of the world, evolving to break from the world and becoming the first guardian of Plana. No more info can provide until full evolution. P.S. Your ultimate excuse, will visit you in the future. Holy asterisk 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 asterisk, are you kidding me, master? Ray screamed out, causing Sophia to come close, so he started to tell her what happened. Is there any danger on Sai? Ray shook his head. No, from what I see, he just like you won't be affected by the outside and will have some perks, so don't worry. Sophia said in relief. So what now? Ray looked at Sai for a moment. The evolution will take some time. If I take a guess, I will say the same as me, and Sai. Sophia looked confused. What? Ray looked at her with a wary smile. If my hunch is right, my master probably calls Sai to the place I was in before, as I have the feeling that being the first garden of Plana has some deep meaning, but don't worry, he won't be hurt in any way. Sophia looked at Sai for a moment before nodding. Ray looked at her, then come closer and hugged her neck, surprising her. Sorry for before, I really didn't mean to yell at you that way, and remember one thing I said and I will keep saying, you are a family to me, so if ever did something that you though is wrong or have anything in mind, just throw it in my way and we'll find our way. He let go and was about to teleport back to the house before he said, by the way, last time I meet my master she gives me a family name, Solaria, so you will be using it too, then despair, leaving a frozen Sophia. After a while, she sat down and chuckled. Good to know he didn't change much, but Solaria, not bad. In fact, Sophia was kind of edgy after Ray woke, as she noticed the effect of his bloodline on him on the trip and tour inside Shrek, but it wasn't that drastic. But after he burst on her without any good reason, she pointed to him, and with Sai's sudden evolution and the similarity of what happened, she starts to feel more unease, but at least Ray put her heart at ease. After Ray got back, he started to work on the mask, but although the way he intended to make it was based on spirit guidance devices, what he wasn't aware of that the system he used in his creation, from the formations to the use of material, are more refined and advanced by couple generation, and will play a great role in his future. The mask took Ray 2 days to make. Thanks to the small size, he had to do some really delicate work on it. By the end of the second day, he found Sophia watching him from one side. When he looked at her, she smiled at him. Enjoyed yourself? Ray looked at her, not knowing what she mean. You got that wide smile on your face after you finished, so I thought you really enjoyed making it. Ray realized, that. Yeah, it was hard to make with only guidance device style, but I pull it out, so yeah, that was fun to make. He put the mouth mask, and the top of 2 tubs on the side and start to glow in a goldish orange glow. Pick. Sophia nodded. Look good on you. Chapter 19, Elder Song Visit. Third Pav. In front of Ray shops, Forest Breeze. He gives it this name because of the place he was built in, as it is surrounded by trees and plants, giving the feeling of a deep forest. 2 women were standing there, surprised by the change that happened to this place. The 2 women are Elder Song, that was here a couple of days before, and her daughter, and the Dean of the Guidance Devices Department, Xian Liner. Even if I sensed it last night, and now I saw the effect, I still can't believe it, Xian Liner said in surprise, as the place she used to see changed to a completely different building. After they entered, they were greeted with a wooden space with a bunch of chairs and tables around, and in the middle a couple of couches and drinks tables. At the very end of the terrace, there is a long bar counter with dozens of island chairs. Pick. As they reached the counter, they found Ray there putting some mechanical parts together, causing the eyes of Elder Xian Liner to shin and come closer in quick steps, while the Elder Son sighed and followed her. Ray notices them. Oh, Elder Song, good to see you again, how are you doing? And you are. Elder Song smiles as she looks at Ray, that looking at her daughter, understanding what he thinking, as the person in question is planting her face close to some gear and designs Ray put around. Good to see you again, Ray. And sorry about my companion, as she kind get attract to anything has relation to metal. Don't worry, she won't do anything X. As she about to end her talk, about heard a cry of surprise. This is amazing, I don't even know how you link all the part without leak in energy or malfunction in the ports. Is this coffee machine? Hearing this, Ray frowned, as inspecting someone else's work is the rude thing possible to a crafter of any type. And add to his little bloodline problem, he got a little offended, and unconsciously he start to rise the entire rotation of soul power in his body, causing the temperature to rise, and little mist starts to leak from the mask as the storage units start to fill at a higher pace than it could afford. Pick. Noticing this, Elder Song understands what happened, so she sends a mental message to her daughter, causing her to flinch after noticing what she had done. She looks at Ray, and before he could say anything, she bowed. I am very sorry for looking without permission. If there is anything I can do to make up for it, just say how. Ray looked surprised. He know that the lady in front of him is the Guidance Devices Department Dean, and from what he know about her, she was a strong-willed woman, a do-or-die type, and now she bowing her head for kid probably not even 1/10 of her age and admiring her mistake openly. Ray sighed, "Rise your head please, you are an elder, don't bow so easily." She raised her head and, "There is no elder or junior when admitting a mistake, and honestly, if I was in your place I won't be satisfied until I land a punch." Ending her world, she raises her head with pride, causing Ray to stop as he was changing storage units in the mask. Looking at the elder song with death pain eyes, "Are all the elders in Shrek oddballs or only you child mother duo?" Causing the two of them to want to refute both options, but after thinking back most of the elders in Shrek had one or two weird quirks, including them of course. They look at each other before laughing and Ray smiled under the mask. "I will take that as the first as the right one, after getting their attention. Now since I got your attention, can I know what I can do for you, or are you here for a drink?" They were confused but understood as Ray pointed at the logo on the wall behind the counter. "My master got the wind of me, so he advised me to open a shop as it will help me in getting used to living around people, or more like force me to." They look at each other before looking at Ray and Elder Song asked, "Is your master around?" Ray shook his head, "No, she sent me a message, and some recipes she wants me to try." The two elders thought, so his master is a woman. The two looked at Ray and then at the cylinder-shaped storage unit he took from the mask. Liner looks at the cylinder and after a while, she looks at Ray, "Is that soul power milk bottle?" Ray looked at her weirdly, "Milk? No, it's a storage unit for soul power. What I will do with a bottle of milk stuck in my face." Although he knows what she mean, he took the chance to make some fun of their naming sense, as he always found that naming funny in this case. "Correct me if I was wrong." This caused her mouth to twitch as the elder song laughed while explaining, "That's the name they give to their storage units." Ray nodded in understanding, "I see, but whey milk?" Causing her tea laugh again. "If can I ask, what is the use of them in your mask?" Liner asked, trying to change the subject. But Ray sighed, "Well, that's one of the reasons I refused the invitation to Shrek." He looked at them, "Let's talk upstairs," he said, leading them to a private room on the first floor. "Please have a seat, I will make some drinks and come back," saying he got back down. Elder Song Pav. After Ray closed the door, I glared degrees at Ling "That was an unwise move, especially from someone in your position." She lowered her head before rising it up and said, "I know it's my fault, but I don't know if you didn't notice, but I start to feel easy around him and feel free. Even you, I don't remember the last time you laughed like before." I start to remember what happened before. She's right, I was completely out of character there. I nodded, then we start to discuss Ray and the way he react. We found that his emotion is unstable, probably just a reaction to the new surroundings, and from there we start to talk about the things we notice here and there. After a couple of seconds he was back with 3 copes, but what is shocking is the drinks are something you will mistake for artwork. Chapter 20, Talking Business and Problems. Third Pav. After Ray leaves the room he asks Sophia, "Sophie, did you notice?" He heard a sigh, "Yes, at least this time you got it under control before you snapped at me." Ray looked troubled while scorching his head. "I did apologize thou, but anyway, do you have any suggestion? I kind put it for later, but I never expected a visitors." As a fact, his angry wave before was completely out of his expectation, probably with unknown strong people simulating his bloodline more to cause his emotion to get unstable. Sophia just hummed, "Unfortunately I don't, I am a beast, remember." Wei don't get help from the two upstairs. Ray start to think of her proposal while making the drinks. By the way, he intended to make use of something he liked to name, soul drinks making. A set of skills that use water elements, to blind and mix the properties and aspects of any type of liquid as long as it has soul power inside, from soul beast milk, passing by spiritual fruits juice, to alcoholic liquors, together giving birth to an unique liquid with some really high effect deepened on us and also high artistic shape. The effects don't rise, the cultivation only effect, vitality, stringing the body, beautifying effect. But the presentation is as simple as just controlling the liquids and mixing them together. It needs a dedicated control of soul power, just a little disturbed and all for nothing. That way he won't put any of those drinks on the normal menu, only VIP merit. After making 4 of the best drinks he can make for his guest, he put some dessert on plates and heads back while talking to Sophia. "Since I don't really have another choice, I will ask for advice from them. It will work as strengthening my relationship with Shrek, but how much do I need to tell?" After thinking for a moment she said, "Just tell them about your lungs' martial soul innate purification, but instead make it so the mode changing you have caused by the excess energy in your body instead of your bloodline. Ray nodded. That will work. Maybe they have a way to keep emotions in check, as they are not best in the content for no reason. Reaching the room, he entered to be greeted by the surprised faces of the ladies as they look at the drinks in his hand as if seen some beautiful jewels. The cups had snow-white color liquid, and 2 of them had some kind of green sparks floating inside, and the last 2 had some gold and silver thread like swirling around in the middle like an eye. Ray named them Forest Sparks and Light Eye. Scan. Forest Sparks. No alcoholic drink made of over 10,000-year-old snow cow milk, and the green seed of pistock that grow in mountains with a high concentration of wind element, exclusive in planet less than aka authors BS greater than, have a cleansing and strengthening and repairing effect for any wind element cultivator meridians. Scan. Light Eye. No alcoholic drink made of the moon dew drops form in places with a high spiritual concentration and high humidity, and the flesh of dusk pitch after processing, exclusive in planet less than aka authors BS greater than, has a minor repairing effect on the spiritual sea, and cleansing and reviving the eye's nervous system. As he put the drinks on top of the table, both the ladies stopped moving and their eyes didn't leave the glass cups even for a moment, as if they enchant by its look. Although Ray was acting normal, the thing he did can be considered a piece of art for outsiders and normal cultivators that even before we talk about the effect. And the reason is the things he learns and optimizes are all out of this world, literally. Ray smiled and said with trained movement, 2 forest sparks and 2 light eyes, I took the liberty to choose as I notice you both use wind elements. Back to reality, they look at each other before thanking Ray and taking a sip from the first one. Not long they notice the effect, especially the elder Song, as she has a higher experience in cultivation compared to her daughter. Noticing the change, they close their eyes to sense the change. And to their surprise, some of the wound that wasn't fully healed in the meridian is a miracle healing under the effect of the energy that slipped inside from the drink, and what's more, the wind place got strengthened. Opened their eyes, and looked at their drink, the effect despair fast, but that was one sip. The elder Song looks at Ray, are you intended to serve this kind of drink? Ray nodded, yes, but not to anyone, as those are 6-level drinks, and are quite hard to make even for me. So I will serve them to VIPs and only Emperor or higher S below that most won't have the body level needed. The elder Song, she looks at Ray with a calm face but an excited heart, something she doesn't remember the last time it happened. VIP. So you will serve them, but not along with normal drinks? Ray smirked and said excitedly, and not in the normal rooms. Elder Song Pav. After Ray got back, I honestly got completely drowned in what he had in his hand, 4-cylinder shaped glass coupe. But if I have to describe it, I will say, liquid jewelry. All the cups has a snowy white color, but 2 of them have something akin to green shade sparks bouncing around the snow, and the others have a few threads like objects in gold and silver color swirled around like an eye. I don't know where I star, this shade, and that shine. And that energy reaction inside, just what is this? It is something, in my opinion, you will find in a gallery or an auction at best from the shape, and this little fella say it's a drink. 2 forest sparks and 2 light eyes, I took the liberty to choose as I notice you both use wind elements. I woke up from my stopper when Ray spoke. I look at him as he put the drinks on the table, he kind of looked used to it. After he finishes putting everything, I look at my daughter and nodded before taking a sip from what he calls forest sparks. The moment it lands in my mouth, I feel a cool wind playing around my body, and it bring a calm and enjoyable easiness to my body, as if I was sitting in the shade of a tree in a calm evening. After the feeling passed, I inspect my body to find some of the delicate and old wounds inside my meridian are healing and strengthening. Don't get me wrong, a cultivator at my level won't let something like a wound stay around without a solution, but in some cases, the wounds in the inner organs like meridians are too delicate to cure with outside help, and so we only leave it to natural healing. Chapter 21, Talking Business and Problems 2. Elder Song Pav. But this drink starts to regnant and strengthen the places that have this problem, and that with just one sip. I look at Ray, are you intending to serve this kind of drink? As honestly, I want to make a business with this kid for Shrek. Imagine all the kids that we can help inside Shrek with a couple of drinks, hell even a Douluo title like me got some benefits. Ray at my question smiled, yes, but not to anyone, as those are 6-level drinks, and are quite hard to make even for me. So I will serve them to VIPs and only Emperor or higher S below that most won't have the body level needed. I keep looking at Ray with a calm face, but I was really excited as that means more than VIP. So you will serve them, but not along with normal drinks? Ray smirked and said excitedly, and not in the normal rooms. Oh boy, that one hell of merchant smile. Not noticing, I was smiling with a mischief smile like his. Oh, how so? He looked at me and said, it kind has something to do with my martial art, so I hope you keep them secret. I look at my daughter and she nodded and sealed the space around me and Ray, causing Ray to laugh. You didn't need to do so. No one can see or hear what happened inside this room as it's one of its special effects. I look at Ray. I know it is to keep the talk between us. Ray looks at Ling and signals at her to stop the sealing. After she did, he give her a stack of papers. These the storage units designs that I use on my mask, and a little soul device I designed that help disturb the energy to the atmosphere. Can you tell me your opinion? We look at him in surprise, but wasn't. Before she continues, she was stopped by Rai. My reaction before was out of my control, as I normally will allow anyone to give his opinion, as he will help me more than not. We looked confused as the reaction he give was kind of weird, compared to before. He sighed and took his mask, and not moments after his breathing become misty. To my surprise, the energy around us started to purify and compress, to the point where we can see a colorful mist drafting in the air around. Bout of a stand in surprise, this, with every breath he takes, energy become pure and more stable, and in a few minutes the room is already filled to the brim. If my calculation is right, there is enough here to allow a soul emperor to break easily. Are you serious? What kind of martial soul had this kind of effect? I almost break through. I look at my freaking daughter, and notice that she was about to break through. I know that she was close, but the level of the element is the reason. If I am not wrong, he had the ultimate element, and this ability probably only purified the energy, and he concisely put some of his ultimate light out to help her out, and that not all. I look at him and surprisingly Ray also notices my look and looks away in embarrassment. Looks like Elder Ling is almost there. Can you use this room to break through, as I have something to show you guys? I nodded at him as he picks a board of some kind and comes closer. So the idea that I come with, every room had a table like this, and you see this part, signaling into the side where some kind of sliding frame. I will give a card, they will sling it here, and after that, depend on the level your card has, he will have many options. For example, he took a green card from his pocket and give to my daughter and put the tablet in front of her. That card is an open one and can allow you all the options. Try to use it. She slides the card and the front lit up with a list that has dozens of settings: blazing, cultivation, reforming, body strengthening, special training, break trough. All of them were very interesting, but the last two piqued my interest. Ray said, please choose the breaking through option, he said while putting the mask back. As she did, a panel pop in the middle of the tablet asking for a soul input. Ray said, just insert your soul power in and it will scan your level and attitude, so it adjusts the room to your level while signaling to me or anyone working to keep an eye on that room. And as she did, the remaining mist was absorbed from the corners of the room, and a ground seat popped in a corner. Then the mist start to rise again from a little opens below the walls, but this time it has only a wind element. He signed to her to sit there. Then he gives her the second drink. Drink this, it will help you in your breakthrough. After a puzzled look, he did so and look at him. He put the tablet in her lap. Click star when ready, and if something happens in the middle, a button will pop beside your seat. Just click that, and help will arrive. As she starts, I can see the mist forming a shell around her, and slowly she hides inside. I look at Ray. So, planning to tell me why you helped my daughter? He scratches his cheek in embracement, no less from an elder in Shrek. I smiled and shake my head. No, I am a mother, of course, I know my daughter best, and I clearly know the reason behind her bottleneck. He looked at her with a sad smile and said under his breath, she is lucky to have a mother like you. I don't know the reason for her spiritual block, but at least she got you. Then weigh the struggling. I was confused. Spiritual block? Ray nodded. What you normally call an emotion problem, as normally it had something to do with the psychic of the cultivator. They had the potential and the determination to become strong, but something happened in the past to keep them spiritually away from breaking through. I see, so it's the fault of that brat. I look at Ray. Thank you, Ray. He shake his head. No need, just take it as a demonstration. I nodded and asked him, do you need any backup? As she is titled Douluo going super, you will keep up. He looks at me. I don't lose anything, you know. I look confused. He sighed. Well, I technically don't use my own soul power. My martial soul is a mutant body type. My lungs, thanks to some happening, I got this innate ability that allows me to purify the energy I breathe in. I was surprised. Isn't that the same as saying that you are a pure energy generator? He looked at me and smiled bitterly, rudely. Yes. Chapter 22 Second Elder Meeting, and First Open Day. Third POV. After Elder Ling woke from her breakthrough, she thanked Ray for the confusion of Elder Song, but Ray looked at her with a smile. The second drink had this unique property: if the person consuming it has a moment of calm heart while drinking it, he will see his regrets but from the other person perception, but that it, either found your answer or not, it's depend on the person itself. Understanding what happened, Elder Song looks at him thankfully. After some talk, Elder Eleanor proposed to patronize him if he had any idea he wanted to make public, and Ray accepted as it was in line with what he planned. After they bid Ray goodbye, they got back to the inner court to find all the elders waiting. The first to speak was Qian Duoduo. Congratulations on breaking through. While coming close, but to his surprise, she hugged him tightly before letting go, and headed to Yan Xiaoj and Tamer looking at the latter. Sorry, but, before anyone noticed, she punched Xiaoj in the face. Now we're even. Saying so, she turns to the other elder. Elder Song will brief you all as I will take my leave to take care of something. She bowed before taking the still surprised Duoduo by the hand and leaving. All the elders got back their surprise. The laugh off Tamer. Ha 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 ha. I told you she will definitely punch you someday from the look she always gives you. That was a good one. Laughing and hitting her tight. Some will say that she is crazy to laugh at the misery of her husband, but she just happy that her old friend let go of her hatred. As matter of the heart is uncontrollable, and also although short apology, this was the first time she talks to her in ages. All the elders started to laugh as they know the history of the four of them. After some seconds they calmed down, but couldn't help but start to laugh again as Zan Lao said, making fun of them. So you're saying that an over 100-year problem solved by a drink made by a 12-year kid or so? If Ray was here he will think jokingly, no, I am just this world's ruler student. As they start to disguise what and how to use the privilege, the unique privilege, is anyone with eyes will know the value of what he putting in sale, and although he said and act as if it's an everyday thing, his value is raised more in the eyes of the elders, as to notice and help a title Douluo in breakthrough is something not anyone can pull, nevertheless a young man. Elder Mu said in a calm tone, next time you visit him please give him this and don't forget to invite him this time. He floated a badge to Elder Song. After everyone takes a look at the badge they were surprised, and Elder Xiaoj, Master. Isn't this the guest badge? This badge is unique and hardly used in Shrek history. Elder Mu smile. Yes, from what I hear from the deal, the kid ultimately trying to help the kids in our Shrek, providing the kids in need a stable income, a good one at that, can let them with more ease and a higher budget to spend from, and it will be back to our pocket as most of the student will eat, or buy things from the shops owned by Shrek. All the elder nodded. Elder Zan Lao continue, and don't forget the 2 rooms, probably you all noticed, but he insisted on only 2 rooms because he didn't want to put a limitation on the rank, so thermally we gain to more places like the ones we had below but without limitation. On that Xiaoj said, but to have that unique effect and withstand 2 ultimate elements at least in his body, how can we be sure we ain't having a spy inside? On that, Elder Mu chuckles, I don't think so, I secretly observe him, and he gives me an unusual closeness feeling, adds with his peaceful and caring character he shows to Elder Song and Ling. Xiaoj, you should visit him next time, but with Elder Song, and you will understand. As the elders started to form plans for their next moves, the Elder Song said, I think him visiting here is a good thing. All of them look at her. I don't know if it has something to do with his life or his nature like that. The way he talks is more mature, and while talking about the deal he puts more important in the life of the kids he taking in. And honest though, it was like talking to man, not a kid in his teen. All the elders keep silent as very few reasons come to mind for his mature mentality, but most of them weren't a thing to say good things about. In the end, Tamer cut the silence. It was decided that Elder Song will help me and Xiaoj to escort some of the inner court students. How about we visit him along with the kids you intended to send for work there before going? Elder Mu nodded. That good idea, and try to let the inner court student make contact with him first. Anyone has anything to add? As no one commented anything, they end the meeting. Back to Ray after they leave, he ends up opening the coffee shop, and although it was in quite a hidden place, he got a couple of guests, but after making the first couple of drinks, people start to appear as if drawn by the smell. In hours, his ground floor and the little backyard were crowded. Thankfully he had a couple of automata he used as servers for drinks moving table. The atmosphere was calm and cheerful, with some of the customers chatting and laughing, and others reading some of the books and novels Ray put inside as decoration to end up being read by some of the guests as time passed. Ray keeps serving drinks and food to the customers or chilling while enjoying the peaceful air if nothing needs his attention, or chatting with some of the customers. Although he did a lot of work, he liked the cheerful and calm atmosphere. Without him noticing, it's already night, and after sending his last customer, he closes the door, took shower and head to Plana. Chapter 23, Talking Business and Problems 3. Ray Pav. I sighed again. Close, but the problem here is the ability passive. Almost all the energy I purified will get back into the air, but some will remain in my body to strengthen it. The last time we met I was surpassing it. Thanks to that, the access energy is still inside my body and it is enough to break the next rank, but as a side effect, I become moody and unstable emotionally only. Thankfully I have a strong body and strong mentality, or else. The elder looked at me for a moment. Are you perhaps from the body sect? I look at her weirdly. No, even if they make me their young master, I won't join a self-torturing loving sect. She probably didn't understand but nodded, and put a business face. So what do you want to talk to me before? I nodded. I was hoping you help me to find a worker for the coffee shop below. She thinks for a while. Is any critical for the workers? I just told her, as long they have a good heart and can serve the customers, though, I hope you send some of the outer students who have some financial problems. She looks confused. Way that. I smiled at her. Let's say that I know how hard it's to study when thinking about what you will eat that night, so instead of anyone, at least I helped someone that needs help. She looks at me for a moment. I have no problem with that, as Shrek will profit, right? I look at her and sighed. A merchant is a merchant even if he sells jewels, causing her to laugh. Exactly. I sighed and said, how about I keep 2 VIP rooms for Shrek to use exclusively and will give 6 VIP cards to Shrek. She said after thinking for a while, make it 3 rooms with full access and 10 cards and I will help you in finding the material as a bonus. I shake my head. That's too much work for me. The VIP card is not something I will give in bulk, as the drinks and process of making are very tiring and demanding. The 6 I give you is already giving you the best deal I can, and 2 rooms are a max of what I can let you use without a problem, but that except the special option. She looks confused, so I hate to clarify. The 2nd and 3 floors are linked to my mask. Half of the energy is stored in storage in the walls, and if I want to put it in the world, others enough of that energy for 5 to 6 title Douluo to rise their cultivation by 3 levels at least 90 to 93 for example, and that the level of input I regulated, the max I can keep active without affecting the other guest or affect how inside this 2-room energy even if it title Douluo. The elder comprehend what I said before asking, so those rooms are open without a card as long as Shrek give the person permission to use them, but the VIP card users will have the same restriction as the other VIP cards. I nodded. The cards are something charged with money and depending on the spec I unlocked it has classification. We keep talking about the ins and outs of the shop to finalize the deal. After we finish, Elder Song look at me weirdly. So in exchange for having the kids off the outer court to work here in Shrek protection, we will get 2 free use VIP rooms and 8 cards, and we will get the priority of any product you put for sale. I nodded. Yes, and don't give me that look please. I did what I did to enjoy the mood around. I am not on hunt for wealth here. She smiled bitterly, and stretched her hand in front of me. As long as you are happy, happy cooperation. I shake her hand and smiled, happy cooperation. Not a moment after Elle and Elder Song end our talk, Elder Ling finished but surprising me with a bow right after she stand up. Thanks for the help. I look at her. It's okay, you also helped me in testing the rooms so all great. She smiled at me while Elder Song looks at her in confusion. Elder Song Pav. Today is the weirdest day I have ever seen in my life. First, the shop that I saw and sat in for unknown times change overnight, thanks to some artifact used by the kid Mother Meat, and the same kid was playing with some high technology soul device design like nothing. And now I am breaking through thanks to the same kid. The weird thing is that instead of concentrating on the break though, I am seeing a vision of my life, from the moment I enter Shrek to the time I became a dean, but from the third person's prescription. The funny fact is that I start to get pissed off on myself in the vision. Is that me? Kamen the ashoul just throws me out of his life, and what I did do. I used the emotion of man for me to get the jealousy of him. Was I that stupid? I keep watching until the point where I start to live with a man that give, and did everything he can to satisfy me but got nothing but fake marriages and he still accept. I really feel ashamed of what I did. No, it's still not too late. The moment I got back to Shrek I solving this problem one and for all. With the new determination, I start to feel stronger and when I open my eyes and I already done, I am super Douluo. I look around and found Ray shaking hands with Mother. I stand up and bow to him. I don't know how he did it, but I really have a great debt. Thank you. He just shakes his head. It okay. I got your help in testing the room, so all good. I smile at his world. He really unique kid. I mean, he just helped an elder from Shrek to solve a bottleneck in her cultivation, and he just let it go as nothing important. Chapter 24 Shrek Elders Visit 1, Finally Spring. 3rd Pav. As Ray jumped to Plana, he was greeted by Sophia, who was still beside the giant crystal, but right now she was looking at him as if looking at a weird creature. He looked at her and around him to make sure he was the one getting that look. What's wrong? Sophia asked. You didn't notice? Ray cocked his head in confusion. Notice what? Sophia looked at him carefully and then sighed. I don't know how it happened, but you're close to breaking through. Ray was surprised but inspected himself to find that his now 39 rank. When did this happen? Exclamation mark quote. Sophia sighed. Well, it happens right after the Toe Elders headed back and you start to work at the shop. You soul power start to move and absorb the energy kept in your body, strengthening your body and refining your bloodline alone with rising your cultivation. I intend to warn you, but you were enjoying yourself, and there was no danger, so I let it be. But seriously, what happened? Quote. Ray starts to think of some theories but ends up with only one close but also hard to believe. Probably since I was at ease, I unconsciously start to cultivate. How does it work? I don't know, as the method I use is something I made, but got corrected by my master, so, yay, I bet this has to do with it. As before, while he was at the shop, he feel an easiness he could say only feel inside Plana or while meditating, and the method he used was made specifically for him and got corrected and updated by his master. So even Ray doesn't know all the effects and properties it's got fully. Sophia nodded and looked back at her kid. I hope he will be alright. Ray came closer and pat her leg. Don't worry, he will be alright. He will take some time, but after this, he will be strong enough to walk around without protection. Passing some time with Sophia and inspecting Sai for while, he got back to the shop and hit the bed after a season of mediation to solidify his cultivation. 4 months and a half passed and Ray found his peace in the calm atmosphere of the shop, opening in the early morning and greeted by the waiting regular client, passing his morning in the work until midday. He closed for 4 hours, using it for eating and cultivation, to reopen at evening as a bar, until midnight is the close time for it, and he uses the night either training or passing the time in Plana. As for some reason, he stops feeling sleepy, so he uses that time to his advantage. Although Shrek City is well known thanks to Shrek Academy, it actually had many other attractions, like merchants, and other schools and academies that pursue other fields. Ray was surprised to know that there is a literate and economics school around. Ray become known after he starts to take care of and help some little kids in their study, while offering his consumable at half price for all the student around Shrek City, making the coffee shop the best hang-up spot for the calm-loving student, while also drawing the attention of drink lovers, alcoholic or not. As some of the regulars start to ask about alcohol, he ends up opening a bar at night, and that is simply changing the inside design. He is inside an artifact, remember, that alone brought him fame in other cities. Now he got drink orders from all around the close cities, and in the span of only 3 months, he has wealth that can make him live like a noble for the rest of his life, not that he needs it in the first place. But not only his pocket got deeper, but he also gained more like a person and cultivator. Now he had complete control over his emotion, got to know more people, and experience many funny and stupid things. He also gives some VIP cards to people he likes from Shrek and even some that not cultivators. And finally, he got his 4th ring from Sophia. This skill she give him is, last thing to say is, wow. 4th Fate Ring. 82,320 Yo. Crystal Conversion. Convert crystals generate from the host into other forms of matter or energy depending on the spiritual strength. So to say, Ray now can make any type of material as long as he has enough spiritual power. And that was 2 months ago. He used this property with some soul-devised design he drew when lazing around the coffee shop with nothing to do, making gauntlets that can be linked to his mask, directing the flow of his breathing to his palm. Basically Iron Man repulsors with the power of his breaths behind them. He even gets carried away to the point where he made his artifact leg have repulsors and a right shoe with the same spec to go with it, and that is just one use he found for the skill. Today as he opened the door he was greeted by his customers, but additionally, he noticed a group in red clothing and white and blue standing together not far away. He knows some of them, but what surprised him is the group was allowed with 3 elders. If I guess right, they are going on a hunt. Ray sighed and greeted his customers and got inside along with them. Everyone took their favorite spot before putting in an order, while the Shrek group headed upstairs. Thanks to his table order system, all he has to do is make the drinks he had on screen, put them in the auto-serving table, input the table number, and it will take them there, which made his work easier. After serving all the regular, as it's still early in the morning, then heads to the big VIP room Shrek using now, knocks on the door, and enters. He intended to grate them, but the only thing he could think of as a red-haired girl entered his eyesight was one word: beautiful. Not noticing that the girl in question was eyeing him with somehow the same eyes. Chapter 25 Shrek Elders Visit 2. Third Pav. Entering the room, he found it crowded with Shrek students. He looks around recognizing some, but he stopped moving as he saw a girl in her late teen with red hair and eyes. Although he know who she is, for some reason his breath was taken by her, and the only thing he thought of at that moment was how beautifully she was. Luckily he was been awakened by a pricking feeling on his neck side before anyone noticed, well except Elder Tamer and Ma Xiaotao, who never let him leave their prescription from the moment they saw him, of course for different reasons. Ray coughed and looked at the Elder Song. It's been a while, Elder Song, how are you doing? Some of the students look surprised at the easygoing tone he uses, but some of the inner students looked at him offended. One of them stand up, you should watch your language, kid. But to his surprise, Ray didn't even spare him a glance as if he didn't hear him. The elders look at him with a steam look while Elder Song warned him, sit down and behave. Surprising everyone. But when she turned to look at Ray, she found him looking at Ma Xiaodao while in deep thought. Ray. She called him, but to her surprise, he freaked out before calming down with a puzzled look, but when he looks back at Ma Xiaotao in the eyes again, they both look away with red faces. Thanks to her close position to him, she can feel his soul power jumping out of his control, the same as his heartbeat, which is surprising for her, as in the little time she meets him he asked her many times, and both of them come with a method that gives perfect control on the heartbeat that even the elders of Shrek start to use as it helps in controlling emotion. And he shows one of the best proficiency in it, so seeing him losing control she starts to get worried. But before she asks, Ray said hastily, since you come with other elders it's probably a business, so please put your order, I will be with you after taking care of something. Finishing his words he swiftly fled and closed the door, leaving the people inside surprised. Ma Xiaotao Pav, I am finally broken through the emperor rank, and today I will be escorted and some inner court classmates by my master to hunt for soul rings, but Elder Song said we will be visiting a place before heading out. As we headed there, some of the outer court students got called along with a teacher joining us, and from the conversation between my master and the elders, they are the students that will be working on some kind of shop on the recommendation of Elder Song. As we stop in a place I never saw before, close to the academy but well hidden, even so, in front of the shop you can see some people that I recognize their clothes as either some teachers or students from the other academies. Surprisingly the elder told us to wait, but Ling Lu Chen asked, Elder, do we have some business with, Maestro? Picking the interest of all the people around. Elder Song look at her, Maestro? You mean Ray? Ling Lu Chen nodded, but as she was about to answer, Dai Yaoheng said, to be specific, Liquid Maestro, is the name customers call him, but honestly, I am surprised that Shrek has a personal connection with the Forest Breeze owner. I see, so this is the famous, Forest Breeze. Saying so I look at the shop in front of me. The Froset Breeze is a shop that become quite famous in the last few months. Although I didn't have the time to visit, I got the chance to drink and eat some of his products, and I have to say it's the best ever I test. I still drool every time I remember the taste, but that wasn't the only thing that made the shop famous. This shop holds one of the last known alchemists. I never meet him, but I got one of his pills from my master. Thanks to it I break through. What's more, the evil element was surpassed and I hardly feel its effect these days. It didn't despair, it's just weakened, and that made the owner value higher. He started his business within Shrek City, and now he gets orders from all around the continent, but the weird part is he doesn't sell his pills to anyone, very few even so what he made, let alone use it. But that didn't get any negative image for him, as some of his drinks and food had some miracle effects on pair with some herbs effect. As we waited, the shop door opened, and a young man almost 180 meters tall with dark skin, black hair with red ends, wearing a white butler outfit gave him a clean and calm look, and honestly, he was very handsome. I saw my share of men, adult and young, but this is the first time I look at a man and got my interest in his look alone. Probably even a die won't be at his match, and for some reason, I couldn't help but keep looking at him. Is he the son of the owner? After opening the door he looked at us inside before greeting his customers. is just me or did he kind of look sad when he saw us? As he enters, Elder Song also entered, heading to the second floor. Then after we got there, she took a golden color card with Shrek symbol and put it in a hole beside the door and it was open. This the first time I saw a golden one, not to mention have another mark. Can I ask what type it is? Dai Yaoheng asked Elder Song, who looked at him. Oh, you know about VIP cards. He nodded and showed her a black card with a tree and some kind of wings as a symbol. Oh, a black one, now this is interesting, anyone else had one too? She looked at the other classmate, and only Gongyang Mo and Ling Lu Chen had them with the same symbol in different colors, but Elder Song was surprised to see a red on in Ling Lu Chen hand. I look at my master and his wife's direction, waiting for an explanation. He smiled and said, "Let's enter." Before speaking, as we enter, we were greeted by the large living room, a normal one but with weird mist reaching the knee. Chapter 26 Shrek Elders Visit 3. Ma Zio Dao Pav. When we inside, I start to sense a high level of energy from the mist, so I looked around and found all the other students surprised except Ling Lu Chen, who probably saw this before, while the elders are smiling. The Elder Song starts to explain after we sit down. So all of you probably notice, but these rooms have a special spec. This one is reserved for Shrek's exclusive use, and that's why the card had our symbol. From what he said, only 4 are made of those, 2 are in our hand at the moment. After stopped talking, my master continued the explanation. These cards have 6 colors, and depend on the level from below to higher: white, yellow, black, red, orange, blue. The higher the level, the more thing you can do. He looks at our surprised face. I smiled, and the golden ones are like master keys. As I was wondering, Gong Yang Mo asked, "What is the difference?" Elder Song answered, "If we took the black and red for example, the black allowed you to use the single and double VIP rooms with full property and drinks, while the red ones allowed you some bonus on top of what I said before, like this mist. You probably figured out what it can do." Of course, no one here is blind, thinking so as I look around. The very act of cultivating in this space can help anyone to speed up his work by double or triple. Elder Kai Mayer said playfully, "Add that the red one allows you to custom this room to your like." All of us were confused by what we heard, but she didn't explain and looked at Ling Lu asking to explain. She nodded. As you heard, the density and type of energy, the temperature, the illumination level, and even if you want a drink making show, but, she ends up her words with a sigh, causing the elders to chuckle. All these options are expensive, right? Ling Lu nodded in response. I see, so the higher the service, the higher the price will be. I nodded. Elder Song, the young man before, was he the owner's student or something? As I sense his strength before, and he could be on the same level and maybe stronger than some of the inner court classmates. All the elders look at each other before smiling at my question and were about to answer me when the door opened, and the one I was asking about entered. He looked around before stopping at me for a second, then greeted Elder Song causally, and to our surprise, Elder Song, who is known for her strict and serious face, smile at him, but before she responds, a classmate of the inner court yell at him angrily, "Watch your language, kid." I look at the one in question, but instead of finding him minding or even reacting to the yelling person, his eyes were on me. He looking at me like he's appreciating an artwork instead of a lady. Honestly, I got offended at first, but when I look at his eyes I was frozen. I don't know the reason, but I was drowned in his golden eyes, and couldn't see anything else at that moment. I only woke up from my stupor thanks to Elder Song's strict voice, "Sit down and behave." As I was looking at her, she turned to look at Ray, but find he didn't even pay attention. After seconds he just looked at me puzzled, then he back to look at me, but this time I feel like my heart almost jumped off my mouth when our eyes meet, so I looked away while feeling my face heating. What the hell was that? Thinking, I took under look at him to find him freaking with a red face the second our eyes meet. Cute. As I was looking at him I noticed a smirk from some of the girls beside me. Wait. Did I just say that load, and also he was cute? What happens to me to even think so? Don't tell me that. As my mind and soul power were in a storm for an unknown reason, he said something to the Elder Song, as I didn't hear him and only could watch before he ran out of the room. Later we heard a crushing voice leaving everyone surprised. For some reason I feel empty. AAA, he run away, saying unconsciously to earn myself a laugh from someone behind me. Looking back I found Lady Mayor smirking at me and with a playful voice, "Our little princess is a mankiller." Not even seconds and he completely becomes spellbound. Now I feel my face heating even more. Don't misunderstand, although I don't leave Shrek much, I had a lot of pursuers, but this was the first time I took interest in a man, as normally I won't even take a second look at them. I won't say I fall in love, as I don't believe in love at first sight, but for some reason, I feel happy to hear that. Sigh, what a way to start a day. Thinking so, I pretend I didn't hear anything and put my mind on ordering. All of us started to order, and since this was my first time, Elder Tamer ended up ordering, but Elder Song sighed after seeing the order for some reason. As I was trying to understand what happened before, oh right, Ray is not the owner student or something, he is the owner, Lady Mayor said, as if she just remembered my question before. And most of the students were completely shocked at this revelation. Who wouldn't, a guy the same age as us doing all that alone, now that is an amazing feat. Not noticing the smirk on Lady Mayor's face, I start to think of how he did it, not noticing a little change happening in my body. Chapter 27 Shrek Elder Visit and the New Worker. Elder Tamer Pav. This will be the first time I see this kid, but he is definitely interesting, and will probably see him more often from now on, I was thinking while seeing the infamous Kid Ray fleeing the room. He's a kid that got into Shrek City not half year ago. With the help of his said master, he opened a coffee shop-like store, and what he served to his client was more like works of art and miracle pieces, from drinks that help calm the mind to ones that help strengthen the martial soul, not counting about the more special ones that have blowing mind effect. And if that is not enough, he has his hand in one of the most sought-after fields by cultivators, alchemists, or more known as pill making. At first, when I heard his age and test some of his works, I was expecting a STEM-looking kid or something, as thou's not achievable by talents alone, but color me surprised, what I saw was probably the most refreshing and easygoing person I have seen. I mean, except him, I saw no one can keep his calm atmosphere around title Douluo, let alone ones of the top of pyramids, and from Elder's song talk, he was like that from the beginning. Now the interesting part is he probably got something for our Xiaotao, as the moment their eyes meet he starts to freak out, something unusual for him from the look Elder Song gives, as she is the one who knows him best among us. Speaking about that, I didn't answer Xiao Dao's question yet. I look at Xiaotao, oh right, Ray is not the owner student or something, he is the owner. Looking at the expression of Xiao Dao, I smirk and got back to ordering. And I did him a big favor by ordering a special for Xiao Dao, but to my surprise, the order was accepted and I was given a message saying all the drinks are on the house. Now that rich man on the working, wait. I look at the other people, he said all of your orders is on the house. Most of the people in the room look puzzled, but the ones who know what I mean have the same reaction, what? Lucky, and start to order with excited expressions, looking at my fellow elders with a smile as they also start to order while talking. Ray comes back, but this time in black servant clothes, kinda look cool, thinking so I look at Xiaotao and she becomes completely spellbound. Sigh, look like she is completely over him and they didn't even talk even once. But that's weird. Taking into consideration her character, she won't take interest in him just from his looks. I look back at Ray dragging a medium-sized box and placing it on the table. He took the tablet and growls after seeing the orders, making a face saying, me and my big mouth. I hear a chuckle from my side, looking I saw Xiaotao chuckling, my. Did she just pick his emotion just now? Although we make it look easy, it's hard to pick someone feeling, and especially someone like Ray who had high control over them. He starts to pick some materials and liquids, so if I am guessing right, the people from the outer court are here for the thing I asked. Looking at Elder Song nodding, he looks back at the kids from our school as if checking something before saying, all of you welcome, except the two of you I don't have the time or the energy to give to people with hiding agenda behind my back. Pointing his empty hand at two people, one is from the outer court known for his bullying tendency, as he is here as a test for him, so it wasn't surprising he kicked him out. But our surprise is the second one, as it was one of the inner court students and the one that got angry at him before. As he was checking the first order he made and putting it in front of the owner, the two he signaled at awake from the shock. The inner student yawned at him, who do you think you are to tell a Shrek student what to do? Know your place, low life. This outbreak of the student surprised everyone, including the person in question. When I was about to stop him, out of nowhere he was struggled by his neck thanks to a mist-made hand. At the same time a dried feeling oozed from Ray as he started to talk with a cold voice, giving a face to your elder there. I let the first time pass as it was nothing, but you didn't take the hint. Ray stopped talking as we saw the inner student raised from his neck. So I will say it one more time, but more clearly. Ray said the inner court student couldn't even move but was hit by deep bloodlust. Never could think Ray will have People like you who see women as consumable things aren't welcome in my house. That includes the people who have a superiority complex. Looking at the outer court student before getting back to the inner court student, the only reason you could step in my shop was this budget, said, putting his hand on the budget and looking back at us, then reap it off his chest. The moment he did that, the student despair. We were surprised, but the older song look at him. I apologize for his rude behavior, but can you explain why he despaired? Ray looked at her for a moment but didn't talk, instead threw the budget to her and pointed at the second student. She sighed and looked at the student. You can go back to the academy and to your normal school time. The student run from the shop the moment he heard her. We look back at Ray to find him serving the outer and some inner student drink, leaving the special ones to the last, and instead of starting to make them, he looks Elder Song in the eyes as if waiting for something. To my surprise, Elder Song raised her hand in defeat. I apologize, okay? Don't give me that look. We only tried to test you, but the first one surprised even as. So can you explain? He sighed and looked at my husband. If I am not wrong, your material soul is the brilliant phoenix, right? My husband was surprised but nodded. Yes, way. Ray hummed and got back to the table. 2 reasons actually. The first is I want to make a drink for some time now, but very few can consume it, and the second is a question, if you do not mind. That looks interesting. Before he could answer, I did in his stead. Just ask. He looks at me weirdly before tapping something on the table he holds. The student before, did you really didn't notice anything weird around him? Chapter 28 Shrek Elder Visit and Drink Making Show. That looks interesting. Before he could answer, I did in his stead. Just ask. He looks at me weirdly before tapping something on the table he holds. The student before, did you didn't notice anything weird around him? Third Pav. All the people look at Ray as he starts to take something from the box. A golden leaf in some glacé box, 2 little bottles with silver and red liquid inside, and what piqued their interest is the high energy it contains. Ray said, he stinks. After looking at the confused elders, he sighed. Most people who had a light element, by instinct hate what is impure, or evil, right? He stopped and looked at Elder Shouj. This becomes sharper in the case of Beast Martial Soul Holder. At those words, all the elders' faces become serious. If they guess right, then they have an evil soul master in their member without them noticing. Impossible. If he was an evil master, we will have noticed, said Shouj, earning him a weird look from Ray. He starts to take a leaf from the box, but with soul power making it float on top of the table, then unsealing the red liquid bottle as if it had its mind jump, coating the leaf. The leaf slowly starts to lose its color, leaving behind only a pure white color as if it had been eaten by the liquid, but any expert will be surprised by his way of working, just like what happens now. To the normal cultivation, what they see was just a magical skill of Ray controlling colored liquids, and what earned him the name, Liquid Maestro, as the only signs of what happening in his work was the unconnected flinch of his fingers from time to time, but to those who have higher sense and training will know that was a simply elements manipulation, but on a completely another level. What Ray is doing right now, simply controlling the red liquid, which by the way red horn dragon blood, forces it to absorb the medical element from the leaf. First to purify it, and advance its medical property, and second, to emblem the light element in it. The process is simple but could go wrong if the blood absorbed too much in a short time, destroying everything, so the creation needs a very delicate control. Hardly can anyone do the same, if you exclude title Douluo or higher. As the prose is happening, Ray draw their attention. I never said he was Master Evil. I said he had an evil heart. He then continues with a serious look, something I believe is that if the heart of the person is what defines them, for example, you can find a man with dark-themed martial soul but have a heart as righteous as a sword. On another side, you will find a man with an angel or saint-like martial soul but have a heart that more evil than demons themselves. He look at the leaf as it almost turns completely white. He separates the now golden red liquid from it while still explaining, and that affects everything in human, soul power, movement, fighting style. Everything determined by that, like the root of the tree, the rotten ones won't give a healthy tree. Putting that red liquid back into the bottle, he did the same process for the white liquid, but this time the leaf start to melt in silver particles inside the milky liquid. And at the same time, a refreshing smell started to attack the nose of most of the people inside. Looking around, he smiles. What you smell right now is just a liquefied pure spiritual essence, and normally speaking you shouldn't be able to, like the ones that couldn't over there. They look at each other, and as he says, some of them start to salvation from the smell, while other didn't even notice. Ray still looking at the liquid floating. That's what I like to call the blood instinct. most of the ones that could smell had beasts' martial souls of either light, spiritual, or fire elements, and you guys don't smell, but since the effect will bring you guys a positive effect. Taking some kind of powder and adding it to the red liquid and finally putting it together with the white one, and to their surprise, the liquids didn't blind together, but as if there is a whale between them, take a cylinder shape with the part between them turned pink gold in color as he put it in a glass, putting the glasses in front of Shouj, calm dusk flame. Enjoy. Scan. Calm dusk flame. Drink made from dragon blood and moon spiritual water. Had sense and spiritual sea strengthening. The effect depends on the consumer. All the people look at the drink with shocked faces. The ones who know what he did was even more surprised by the simple yet delicate work. Well, except Ma Xiaodao was paying attention to something else. She asked with a concerned face, "Are you okay?" This question surprised the elders, but after some moment they noticed why the question was. Ray almost dispel his soul power. Although the process was simple, but it's very taxing on him as the material he works with was higher than his level. Ray looks at Xiaodao with surprise, as no one will notice if she didn't ask, first because his soul power resignation is almost done, and second he was hiding his soul power and no one should notice. But seeing the concern in her eyes, he feels a weird feeling in his heart. He looks away. "I will be okay, thanks for your concerns." And at the same time, the elder looked at them with weird faces. They didn't notice, and like everyone else here were enhanced by the beauty of the glass, but Xiaodao sees what happened, meaning she was observing him, something unusual for her. And the embrace and shy answer Ray were even more surprising to the ones that know him quite well. Chapter 29 Shrek Elder Visit and Drink Making Show 2. Third Pav. As everyone was looking at him, Ray feel embarrassed and stupid at how he answer, while cursing himself. "I will make the last drinks now, please wait a moment." He got back at making the rest of the drinks, but as he was about to make the next one, a hand caught his own. Turning back, he found Ma Xiaodao grabbing his hand unconsciously, but after a moment she notices what she doing, letting go with a red face and looking around. "You don't need to have." Take a breath while master consumes his drink, and also can you explain the effect of this drink? After a moment both of them start to feel a sting pain in the neck. Ray scratch his neck and look at her for a moment before remembering something. He sighed and sat down beside her to the surprise of every. He starts to explain, "Although it's hard to make, it's not that much high from my level, so don't worry." Confused Xiaodao asked, "Level?" Ray nodded, "It is a ranking. Every drink I made had a level deepened on the complexity and the material used, and the same goes for the makers. I am level 6 and that drink is the Calm Flame. Level 7 so it put a little challenge, but all good." He smiles with pride, but sadly no one can see it, only feel it in his words. Ma Xiaodao look at him from moment to nod, but got cut before even she spec by her own master. "What is its effect?" "I can sense a dense light and fire attitude from it, but honestly, I don't know what effect it will bring." Ray nodded. "It has a strengthening effect on the attitude and the spiritual sea. The stronger the consumer, the better effect, and there is a high chance for you to gain some spiritual ability or some of your soul skills to evolve since you are a titled Douluo." All the people look at him with unbelieving eyes, and he somehow understands. "It's real. Didn't Elder Song consume something like it lately? And do you think I will put those kinds of prices without reason?" All of them look away sheepishly, except Xiaodao that's still looking at him with amazed eyes. Ma Xiaodao could be said raised in solitude since her master and his wife adopted her thanks to her unique and risky martial soul. She hardly leaves Shrek Academy, but that didn't mean she was ignorant. On the contrary, she is one of the smartest minds in Shrek thanks to her curiosity that push her from a young age to at least read a book or two every couple of days from Shrek Inner Library. And it's the most known library with a variety of subjects and materials from around the world, so you know the rest. So seeing a drink that had such a blowing mind effect, but the simple creating process, hard to do but simple nevertheless, she start to think of the way and how a man in her age archives such precise control. Looking at the wonder in her eyes, Ray smile, "Surprising, right?" Woken from her thoughts, she look at Ray not understanding, so he clarified, "Simple prose to give birth to something amazing like that. If not impossible, it's surprising, right?" As if reading their minds, Thou's world described their thinking. Although he was addressing only Ma Xiaodao, she nodded at his world, so he put his right leg on top of his left. "What the reason for that in your opinion?" Looking at his poster, some of the regulars from Shrek straighten their poster to the surprise of the others. Elder Tamer feels the change, so she asks the Elder Song's telepathy, "What happened?" Elder Song chuckled and said, "That's the reason some of the young cultivators will visit regularly. he will start to ask questions, and in the proses, he will disguise something with some of his guests that keep with his questions. If someone keeps up with him, there is a chance that he will be gifted a VIP card. The funny fact is that every time he does that, the kids that are in a bottleneck will start to break through or gain some insight. I asked him before and he said, surprised by what she heard, got interested and got back to Xiao Dao, who answered after thinking, control over soul power. But I had a feeling that is not all, maybe you control the element itself. As before, I didn't sense any in that red liquid, although it was transforming and gaining new elements. This gave Ray a surprise. Before he nodded, good answer, but if I control the element, why didn't they blind in the coop until now, or blown up? This question troubled even the elder that listing, looking back to the glass and observing it for a while, but the only people that understand something are the elders. Song wants to answer, but Ray looks at her with a, wait, look. He looked at the other student that didn't figure anything and looked back at Xiao Dao that's still looking at the cope. As he was about to get disappointed, he hear her whisper, the liquid is not still. To his surprise, as he was about to ask, she excitedly said, that it. The energy inside is not still, it's moving around in harmony, causing it not blind and react between them until it consumed, right? She looked at Ray and smiled. Ray God laughed and said, excellent. This the first time someone got the trick behind one of my drinks. He looks playfully at the elders, even elders Song didn't notice at first. This earns him a snort from them. Ray looks back at Xiao Dao. As I was saying, the element manipulation is just part. The true key is the property of the material and the way you blind theme together in harmony. Ma Xiao Dao looked confused, but I thought they were not blind, I mean except the little pink part between. Ah, that's the reason. Ray looked at her with surprise. You smart, aren't you? Early, blinding them completely will lose the thing I want the most, and that way most of the things I made won't notice their effect until consumed. What will be lost? Xiao Dao answered, the reaction between them. Instead of using the property of each material and strengthening it, you use the very effect of the mixing to your advantage, and instead of starting on the gained energy and its absorption, you use the reaction in a positive way to improve the body while the energy strength the effect. As she ends her word, she notices Ray looking at her with weird eyes, the same as her fellow student, but the elders raise their chests in pride at the surprised Ray. The elders may know the process, but that is thanks to the experience and sensibility they sharpen over the years. But Xiao Dao is still young and she figures out the work of his magical work, that itself a qualification to Shrek Academy. Feeling in a weird mood, Xiao Dao asked Ray, did I get it wrong? Ray just shake his head and smiled, no, more like you got a full score. Are you an alchemist? Ma Xiao Dao shook her head, no, why? Ray sighed, noting, someone with this kind of observation will be a great alchemist, and you have answered like someone who at least had the knowledge of one, so yay. All of them were surprised, as he literally said that Ma Xiao Dao had the talent to be an alchemist. Ma Xiao Dao's eyes shine for a moment before sighing, so bad that very few alchemists know, and all of them won't find a merit in teaching me. Ray cocked his head to one side for a moment while looking at Xiao Dao, then he looks away, and to the surprise of everyone he said, I can teach you the ropes if you okay with it. Everyone was shocked, but Ray didn't mind them and got back to his work. Chapter 30 Shrek Elder Visit and Drink Making Show 3. But before he starts, Ray was surprised by Xiao Dao hugging him, really? Thank you. All the people froze at her action as they were used to her cool and distant character. This was the first time she react like that, but the more surprising was Ray. The moment she huge him, he flinches in despair to repair in the other side of the table. Noticing what he did, he look away in embarrassment. I won't teach you, I will show you the ropes, as honestly how I create things are impossible for other people. All of them were confused, but he scratched his head, let's leave this talk to later, and let him drink his drink while I make the other ones. Noticing he didn't want to talk, they nodded and look at Xiaoj to observe him. He nodded at his wife and drink it, but after some moments he feels something and sat down in meditation. Ray looks at him for a moment, then, only for a second, his eyes change to fox eyes with only the elders and Ma Xiao Dao noticing. He sighed and put up what he was doing, and picked the tablet, clicked a couple of things on it, then returned to his work. After seconds the door opened and a little robot with something on top of it come inside. He looked at Elder Song, who sighed then nodded, and looked Sarah that also nodded and looked at the student. All of you please follow Elder Song to the other room, as you will be at risk if you stay here. Al the student was confused but did as they were told. On the other hand, Ray took dozen of books from his inventory and put them on top of the robot. Those books are copies of what all you need to do in work at my shop. Read it carefully while waiting. Elder Song nodded before leading the student to the other room of Shrek. But Ma Xiaodao was still standing in her place and looking at Ray for some reason. Ray look and somehow understand what she want. He sighed and point at an empty chair in the corner. After they left, Ray look at the man meditating and his eyes change again for a moment before sighing and looking at Elder Tamer. Your husband really knows how to work someone to the bone. She scratches her cheek in apology as Ray shake his head and took the items he brought before. Ray looks at her, then pick up the sticks to throw them around Xiao as they start to float, forming a visible barrier around him. At the unique sight, both ladies were surprised. Look cool, but what is that? He looked at them again and said with a pissed voice, those are some soul guides device that rebound any soul power and stop it from going outside. Your smart husband here trying to ride the evolution of his martial soul to force a breakthrough in this place. Xiao Dao looked confused. That wasn't supposed to happen. Ray looked at her and sighed. Normally yes, but his element just evolved, and he needs some time to reinforce it, but he uses the access energy to break through. That will need a whole another level of energy, and, as he was about to continue, light attitude soul power blown from Xiao, but thankfully it's rebound by the barrier. Seeing this, Ray looked at her and pointed at her master. He is a title Douluo going super. What you think will happen to this place if I didn't erect this barrier, and that without counting his jump in quality of soul power? Understanding where he comes from, she looked away and sighed. Tamer looked at her husband and sighed. No matter how old we are, you still act without thinking. And that was actually a truth, as he didn't bother to ask about anything and only took the chance to break through. After the soul energy calmed down, and the breakthrough succeeds, he didn't stop meditating but start to absorb the energy around again. Noticing this, Ray observed him for a while and he really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Instead of ending his meditating, he decides to use the remaining energy to strengthen his body, but since he doesn't have enough, he starts to intensely absorb it from the outside, meaning from Ray. Ray looks at Sarah and Ma Xiaodao, who also notice, but they awkwardly look away, sighing. He is quite greedy. Both of them chuckle and keep observing, but then his absorption rate raised more than the room can keep up, and started to have a hard time. He looks at Ma Xiaodao that has a nervous face for a moment. He intended to let him absorb what he can and let the integration to him. But thanks to his high level in both cultivation and attitude, and with the new purity of the element, he won't have any visual improvement. He sighed and looked at Tamer and muttering, you guys in Shrek will owe me a big favor for this. Saying this, he come closer to Xiao and activate his lung martial soul, intending to use the full power of his purification ability. Ma Xiaodao Pav, is that even possible? That was the only thing I could think of at this moment. While concentrating on the master condition, I hear Ray muttering something as he got closer to the master and activate his martial soul. I did know he's a soul ancestor, but this was the first time I see someone with all his ring black. He completely too of anything even was known. Even the sea god Tang San didn't have this configuration in his age. And if this was not enough of a surprise, the moment he activated his martial soul, I feel the evil flame inside me freeze and hid away. For the first time ever I didn't feel those bad feelings, and for some reason I feel safe. My eyes start to water for no reason and start to feel sleepy, then everything turns black. Chapter 31, A Blessing in Disguise. Third Pav. As Ray activates his martial soul, his gloves bulge up and like some snakes, the sleeves part runs up on his arms and linked to his lasp, the cylinders in the sides of his face slide down on that part, then a crystal-like lens appears in his palms and finger inner joins, then start to glow in along with some neon lines along his arms on the same yellow gold lights on his mask. Pick. His first ring lit up and the light around him changed to bluish gold, and crystal mist start to leave his palms and fill the room. Thanks to the disturbing energy around and the low visibility around, Elder Ser was completely shocked but kept Ray in check, not noticing Xiao Dao losing conscience, and Ray was too focused on what he was doing to notice something else. Hell, he even didn't notice the glowing phoenix mark on his neck heating up. Ray rise his hands and some of the mist rises and start forming a disc on top of Shuzak's head, positioning itself inside a crystal ring. Ray's third ring shine as the ring and disc become solid and stable. Then his fourth ring shined mist starts to gain a golden sheen. It slowly turns to a completely golden color and starts to drown to the outer ring, forming little rivers of golden light as it starts to absorb it. After it absorbed some, it stops, then send a pure wave of light energy to the inner disc and repeat the process again. The disc starts to shine brighter and brighter by the second until it starts to drop golden dew-like liquid down. Every drop hit the body of Xiao will absorb directly, leaving a white mist behind, and any drop hits around him turns into gold smoke entering his body. As the presence become autonomous, Ray sighed and dropped down of tiredness with a smile on his face as he looks at his final work, then he started to smirk as he saw the scan description. Tamer, who was captured in the magical picture, got here bearing after she saw him drop on his knee and she come closer to him. Are you okay? He looked at her and laughed to her surprise. Don't worry, just a little tired. She looks at him weirdly, except for the pale complex his eyes had no tiredness, and for some reason, she felt like his happy. She tilted her head. Is it just me, or you are looking quite happy? As he hears her he starts to laugh again. You bet, I just pull a great way to use my skills, and it gives me great inspiration. What he pulled was something like strengthening capsule, but in the form of a shower. Yes, shower. The outer ring will absorb a specific attitude, comprise it and send it to the disc that will store and mix it with water element to give it liquid property, and according to the scan, it becomes the property of Shouj. Tamer. Scan. Element shower unstable, an artifact that absorbed and liquefied the element to create a continuous stream of it below that has the same soul frequency as the owner or the user. Bound to Shouj. Can only be used with the permission of the owner. Best used with the light element. Using another element can risk destroying it. Sarah look at him for a moment then smirk. Then we're even. Ray looks at her weirdly and points at her husband. What he forced me to do can make 6 to 7 from my VIP breakthrough if I accept the special order. She blushes and looks away. That means he can gain millions of golden coins if not billions, and he was forced to do it by her husband. But Ray adds a finishing blow. Try to sense what happened there and try to say that again. She did as he was saying and noticed that the energy that dropped down have the same feeling as the soul power of her husband. Then her eyes opened wide. Don't tell me. He can control the frequency of the energy. She was shocked. This something completely impossible, as it's like a unique mark for each cultivator and the very reason that you will find very few people can do fusion technique. Also, the reason the cultivation is always slow, is as in the process of refining you have to change the frequency, and the more potent the energy the more time it takes to refine, but Ray helps him in that aspect right now, that way he won't take much time. She looks at Ray that starts to recover. Why? You can control energy frequency. He looks at her and then starts to laugh. No, that's completely impossible. He looks at the man that starts to wake up and said, what I did is, I don't know how to explain, made the disc inside copy his frequency and stabilize the energy that enters on the same frequency. So it's his use of his skill that is marvelous. But what kind of skill allows him this wide range of use? Tamer looked at him for a second before sighing and looking to her husband standing up, and although she didn't see any visual change, she couldn't help but to gulp as she feels the change. Every muscle in his body becomes stronger, his bones become denser, and more importantly to her, he becomes more handsome. If she had to describe it common language, he becomes hotter. While drowning in her husband's new looks and unconsciously hugging him, she heard a smug voice behind her. What? No thanks for me. Righteous the question was, the smug face and way he looked at her give the complete meaning, but he chose the wrong person to troll. Smirking back, Tamer said, well, as thanks I won't stop you from pursuing Douluo Dalu. At those words both Ray and her husband were surprised, but a second later, the latter nodded while the first turns completely red for no reason. All of them look at the person in question to see her reaction, but what was there was a complete shock. The lady in question was floating in her place with some of the free mist around as her bed, and for some reason, they can't sense her soul or spiritual power. Chapter 32, A Blessing in Disguise. 2. Third Pav. The lady in question, Douluo Dalu, was floating in her place with some of the free mist around as her bed, and for some reason, they can't sense her soul or spiritual power. Each one of them has a completely different reaction. Both Yan Shouj and Tamer come closer to her, while Ray froze in his place while looking at her with a shocked face and clenched hand, and the reason for that is simply because he knows the reason of what happened to her and he didn't expect to happen this fast. Back in time _. As Ray leaves the room after asking them to put in an order, he feels lightheaded. The moment he was out he intended to head to Plana, but the gate he opens wasn't stable, ending up hitting the wall head first, before reopening the gate and entering. The moment he was inside he started to feel the heat in his heart spread to his body, causing him to drop to the sea, and on contact, it started to stem out and vaporize as he keep on diving deeper while fighting to keep his condition under control until the heat fades out. Only the right side of his neck still had the sensation of burn, but the funny part was he kind of feels happy when he feels it. The reason wasn't real fire, No, it was just the side effect of something taking a place in his heart and side neck, and although he wasn't in real danger, what happened put pressure on his vitality for one reason: the mark was made from his blood essence, giving it a deep ruby color. After a while, he got out of the water and lay down on the shore inspecting his body, and to his surprise, except for the tattoo on his neck, nothing visual had changed. But after deep inspection, he found a spark of some kind of flame in his heart, white with blood red color in the middle. Not knowing what was wrong, he used his scan, which leave him with a wary smile. Sighing while looking at the horizon, seriously, what's wrong with my life? As if answering a crystal practicals from beside him, what was that, Ray? He looks at her as he lay on his back, just my bloodline being a greedy pervert. As he said that, he starts to look at his status inside. Scan. Ray, age, 12Y. Ray Solaria, rank, 42. Bloodline. Fairy King's bloodline, 10% greater than 16% unlocked. The eyes turn gold-green color along with the appearance of 3 pairs of dragonfly wings and little lengthened ears when activated. A unique bloodline from another universe got affected by this world's rules and evolved. Every unlocked stage will follow by the formation of a special tree linked to the holder, and change part of his body to hold a spark of its power. The holder's body can't accept a soul's bone. Every effect the bloodline brings becomes a passive innate ability. Formed trees. First tree. Green tree, sapling, purification effect on the surrounding, high life element earth and heaven energy generation, body link, lungs, minor purification, minor life element generating. Closing square bracket. Fate treads mark, half awakend. Formed mark. Fury phoenix. The presence of a soulmate candidate will push the body of the holder to form a mark from his blood essence based on the instinct image of the triggering person. If he or she proves to be one of the destined ones, will automatically form a host emblem in their body. All the conditions not met to full unlock, can't full scan until full unlock. Host will form the mark on his first meeting. It will despair if no close emotion change felt from the candidate. The partner's time of forming the mark depends on the emotion and her opinion of the host. Active sub-ability. Fate vision. Allow the user to see the fated relationship of people and their emotion. Sighing, he recounted what happened to Sophia. So if I get this right, every time someone had some chance to be with me come in specific radius of me will activate this ability, and if the other side doesn't have a positive view of me, the mark will despair with time. And on contrary, if they had some kind of positive emotion toward me, they will gain my own mark too. Sophia sighed, you really have a unique bloodline, so what you will do? Ray look at her, what do you think of that lady? Hearing and thinking for a while, I think she will be a good mate, good background, and good strength, and from what I saw her body is excellent for giving birth. The weird answer earned her a weird look from Ray as she asked, what? Ray sighed and shook his head, noting, well, let's leave this for later, at least she didn't form the mark yet, so I still have time to at least know her better. Sophia smirked, oh, I can say that time is close now. He pretended not to hear her comment and jumped to his room to put on some clothes as what he was wearing is almost burned completely. Blank, underscore flashback end underscore, blank. Third POV. He looked at the scene in front of him, coming closer, and asked with concern in a confused voice, can you look if she had any mark or symbol of some kind on her skin? This question surprised both elders. What more, they really found a weird symbol in her back right below the neck, between the shoulder blade. The mark had a tree with 3 pairs of fairy wings beside it, a mark they saw and know very well, but in addition, there are some red feathers instead of leaves on the tree. Seeing the mark, Yan Shaoj locked Ray under his spiritual pressure, causing him to kneel, what you did to my discipline. But to his surprise, Ray's eyes didn't leave Sha Dao for a moment, so Shaoj got angrier at that and was about to attack him, but was stopped by a hit on top of his head that come out of nowhere, sending him crashing to the wall. He and his wife felt a crawling sensation on their skin at that moment before hearing a calm voice in their minds, behave if you still want to live, the next time you try to bully my student will be the last day you live. The voice stopped before adding, also the condition of your student is something my own can't control as its fate work, he will help her, so don't worry, also don't you dare to tell him I talked to you guys or even I was here. Chapter 33, A Blessing in Disguise. 3. As the voice despaired so the sensation, Shaoj stand from his drop place, with cold sweat all over his neck. He looked at his wife who nodded in an unpleasant mood, and headed to Ray, are you okay, Ray? I am so sorry about his behavior, but he didn't answer and only continued to watch Xiao Dao as tried to shake him. With open eyes he starts to fall down, so Tamer catches him and looks at his eyes. Although they are open, they are completely void of light. He lost conscience. She inspects him and then glares at her husband as he was surprised by his wife's angry face. He was about to ask, but she stopped him. No word. Not only using full pressure on a kid, but also the same kid that helps you in your reckless try to breaktghou. And what more, did you just intend to attack him? Without question asked. I am really disappointed. She stopped talking and inspect Ray again. Except for a couple of cracked bones, nothing bad happened to him, but for some reason, he is in the same state as Xiao Dao. She looked at him and said, inform Elder Song to escort the student back to Shrek Academy and ask Elder Zhuang to come over. Yan Shaoji was about to say something. She continued, we will talk later, now both of them are the priority. He hesitated for a second before leaving. He understand that she did so to save him from any other attack from Ray Master, as the know very well that the one behind that voice didn't like him the most. Just after he exits the room, Ray starts to float as the mark on his neck starts to shine bright red, and as if responding, the mark on Xiao Dao back start to shine as well. Then they start to float to each other before the mist around covers them tightly. Tamer was nervous and looked at them, using her spiritual sense to try and figure out anything happened inside, but nothing come from it as the mist shut them completely. After seconds she heard a voice behind her, don't be nervous, she will be okay. On the contrary, she will be more than okay. After she woke up, every hair strand on her body stood up as she didn't even notice a presence behind her until she speech but calmed down after noticing the owner of the voice was probably Ray Master. Turning around, she stared at the lady in front of her. A long unique galaxy here with the same color eyes, look young and beautiful, beautiful to the point of making Tamer jealous of her. She looked at her carefully and said, I assume you are Ray Master. It's an honor to meet a lady that can teach a fine talent like Ray. The lady in front of her chuckled in surprise and said, look like you're an interesting little girl. Don't worry, I don't have any ill intent against you. Before was your husband's fault to lose control and almost killing my student. Kai flinched for a second before sighing. She may look relaxed, but she was fully on guard, and after hearing how she talks to her like she talking to a little girl, Tamer feels like talking to Elder Mew, so following her instinct she decides to drop her grade. Looking at the lady in front of her nodding, she know that the person in front of her was way stronger than her, and every move she did since the beginning was in her sight. As she was observing the lady she smiled, well, my name is Elena, for where I come from. And who am I? Question doesn't matter. For now, and about what happened there, it's a ceremony of soulmate bounding. Kai looked confused and only can say, excuse me. Elena looked at her and said, little Ray over there is passing his first soulmate bounding. And don't give me that look. No, he isn't forcing her. As a matter of fact, they are talking now, and after that Hay will decide what happened between them. She looked at her and said, any questions? Tamer looks confused, so Elena restarts her explanation in detail. Ray had unique body property that allows him to sense his fated partners. By the way, he didn't know about it as it triggers on its own, and your discipline is the first one who did so. She looked at the door, then at the place where Ray at for a moment, then looked at Kai and smiled. Congratulations, you got yourself a great son-in-law. With her word, the mist around Ray and Xiao Dao start to transform into flame, but the color is completely out of the norm. Blood red and pure white dancing around them for a while before it drowns inside them and leaving Ray with Ma Xiao Dao in his lap with closed eyes. After inspecting them and finding that they only sleeping, Kai sighed and looks at Elena, who nodded. Now that it passed successfully, I will take my leave. Tamer was puzzled. That the only reason you're here? She nodded at the question. Yes, I feel the change in him, so I jump here to see if he alright, that's all. She turned around about to leave to hear another question. You said before the first one, as that means he will have more than one wife in the future. Elena stopped and turned with mischief smile. What do you think? Then disappeared. Kai looked at the place where she disappeared and chuckled, then looked at her adopted daughter and sighed. Look like you choose a good but troublesome partner. She come closer and input the soul power in her to inspect her condition more carefully, but redrew it faster than she did before with a fracking voice. I take that back, you definitely hit a jackpot. The reason for her freaking out was what she filled inside her daughter, not the normal soul power, or even the feeling she used to, as she made it regulate thing to check on her condition. What she felt was completely pure and strong fire attribute with no existence of any evil fire. What more, she can sense some dark element but not evil, just darkness attitude with no impurity like a starless night sky. Not only he purified her element but also advanced it to the ultimate level. Just what happened in this couple of minutes? Chapter 34 A Blessing in Disguise. 4. Ma Zio Dao Pav. As Ray starts to use his soul skills, I black out, and when I open my eyes I find myself behind a giant red bird, and for some reason, it fighting a bird of the same size but different color. As I was looking at the bird in front of me, he looked at me for a moment before saying, "Finally you decide to come here, mind little help." I was confused, but the bird on the other side started to attack more intently. I was so confused to do anything but an angry y'all made me move. Come on girl, not time to be confused, meteor shower, now. I unconsciously used my skill targeting the enemy, but it's dodge it. The red bird in front of me take the chance and attack the enemy and erected a fire sphere around us inside, then look at me, hold for a second, and to my surprise, she start to turn to red blood flame and turns into human form. Surprisingly she took my image but more mature and with a deeper shade of red for hair and eyes. Nice to finally meet you. Since you are here I think there is no reason for an introduction. I guess not. How you came here if you didn't know me? Taking my confused face as the answer, she starts to walk around me, then she stopped when she saw something on my back and then come closer to me, putting her hand on my back. The moment her hand touches my back I instantly feel that she trying to touch something I shouldn't allow anyone to touch, so I put some space between us and she just stopped there with stretched hand and a surprised face. After a moment of silence she burst into lighthouse laugh. Ha ha ha, this hilarious old friend. One of your descendant fated beings is one of my own. Ha 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 ha. That was good laughter. She looks at me and I have to say, although I had a close feeling toward her, I don't want to get anywhere near her. As if understanding what I thought, she sat down. I am sorry for trying to touch your emblem, but color me surprised when I saw it after such long time. You can have a set so we can speak. I was puzzled but did anyway. Sitting in front of her I asked in confusion, what emblem do you mean? I don't remember having something like that on my back. She looked at me with a surprised face. You don't know? She looked at me and assured me the question, seriously. I start to get pissed. Do I look like joking? Also, can you explain what happening? She looks at me for a moment. Last question before answering, do you know where are you now? I shook my head, then she sighed. Well, let's start from the very beginning. I am what you people call the origin instinct, a phoenix kind, and as she was going to continue we feel a shock from outside the sphere causing the whole place to shake up. Then the fire around starts to vanish and what was out is a woman with 12 pairs of fairy wings and long green hair holding some kind ivy in one hand that binding the blackbird at its end. The woman beside me jump at her feet with a happy look and run hugging her. It's been like what, millions of years? I hear that your descendant marked mine isn't funny. The other lady huge her back and start to laugh. If he mine's alone, but his main blood comes from hash 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 hash. So yeah, not funny at all. The red lady looked surprised and looked at me with a pout. You're lucky girl, now I feel bad for waiting for you while you're out flirting. At her words, my back starts to heat up the same as my face, and for simply remembering one person. I look at her, what do you mean flirting? I don't even know Ray that well to flirt with him. She looked at me playfully, oh his name is Ray and you want to flirt with him but not now. Good for you. With the same damn playful voice the other lady said, don't bully the poor girl, she doesn't even know what she did. Both of them really start to get on my nerves. Can you stop playing around and answer my question? They look at each other and then start to laugh, and then the fairy woman said, sorry, I just couldn't help but play along. So for your question, can you wait until that last person come? I was confused, but before answering a light started to shine beside me brighter and brighter. Then fairy lady looked at me and then looked at the red one and said, I will be leaving since he's not ready to meet me yet. Also I will leave the explanation to you. From hash 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 hash, personality he won't explain everything. The red one pouted but nodded. As the fairy lady despairs, the ivy around the bird takes root on the ground. And at the same time, the light beside me fades, leaving behind a man I just met that made me more interested in him than I ever imagined I could, but for some reason, he looks really angry at the moment with a glare that could kill. Chapter 35 A Blessing in Disguise. 5. Going back to the moments before Ray lose concise. Ray Pav. While they inspect Zio Dao, I felt a weird sensation inside me as if something trying to connect to me. Not the type that makes you uncomfortable, on contrary a feeling of getting a call from my family, and I was quite excited, but before I could think of anything I was assaulted by heavy pressure lousing my conscience, and the next thing I know is standing in a completely different place. I was in the middle of a platform using 9 giant trees as pillars, each one had unique color with some description running all over them. He comes close to the edge of it to look below and like signals, Pairs of lights started to shine from below the platform and spread all the way to the horizon between the bushes and trees. After observing carefully, I figures those lights were actually reflections of light on the eyes of millions, if not billions of beasts of all kinds and types, and the weird part is they all boinged to the platform. He was confused, but after turning back he found something wasn't there before. An old man with dark red hair with a couple of other colors at the ends of it, with a strong body wearing a black kimono with a couple beats designed in it with the same colors as the trees. The interesting part is he looks like me in my old life but stronger and older as I died younger. With a smile never leaving his face, finally noticing me, "Have a seat, will ya?" He poured 2 cups of tea, drinking from one after pushing on in front of me. I did the same as him and then look at him. "So, should I introduce myself or something?" He chuckled and asked, "Why didn't you do it directly?" I sighed and answered, "You look like me, you know. How much will be weird to introduce myself to myself." He laughed, sadly, "No, I am not you, more like I am the awareness of a part of your strength essence." I was confused but got something from it, probably a projection of some kind. I nodded, "So I presume you part of me?" He shook his head, "No, I am more like an echo of the general, while yours is part of the general." I analyze his words and look at him, and from the way he speaks he probably knows about me more than I know myself. "Then why do you call me here?" "If I had to know." He looks at me with a cruise face, "You won't ask who I am?" I shook my head, "I will probably get no clear answer from the way you speak, so let's get to the things that I will get without puzzles talk." He looks at me seriously, "Are you sure? The moment you know, there is no going back, and with you still stuck I don't think you're ready." I was confused and looked at him. "Stuck in what? And ready for what?" He answered momently, "Your past life. Probably you never intended to face your regrets, aren't you?" I was confused as I honestly don't feel any attachment to my past world, well except for a couple of mischief kids, but they will do just fine even without me. I titled my head, "I was an orphan, with no family, no lovers, only the kids that I took care of from time to time. I don't see where the attachment." He shook his hand, No, I didn't mean it, that's why. Did falling in love makes you more stupid?" At that, I feel my face start to heat for no reason, but then I remember what happened outside. That was something caused by bloodline, not my own emotion, right? "Is she okay, by the way?" He sighed and looked at me as if giving up. "You know what, I give up. Anyway, you will understand what I mean later. Let's talk about why you are here, and don't give me that face. She's okay, all right." I nodded, then keep listening. He sighed after looking at me for a moment. "What a waste of time for nothing." Sighing again he started to talk. "Well, first things first, as you know, I am one of the instincts of origin, and this place is one of the deep mental spaces of this world, and as you know the what?" He started to explain, and as I start to hear a lot of new terms I start to look confused, and probably there is a couple of question marks on top of my head now. He looks at me and stares at me as if I was pulling jock on him. "Are you seriously don't know what going on here?" I nodded to leave him disappointed and said, "Can you tell me how you got here?" I explained, and to my surprise, he started to laugh. Then he looked at me and said, "I don't know if you were lucky or unlucky, but that girl is your lucky star. Here, I will send you the general information." As he said so, information starts to appear on my mind. About the creation, about the world I was in this one, and more importantly, about myself. The more I revise, the more I frown. And more I feel confused, but remember something I never put in mind before, the feeling of stranger I had in my past life. Chapter 36, A Blessing in Disguise. 6. This world is not simple. This chap will be full of explanations, info dump, but please read it, it's important to the stories I write. Also, I will really need the reader's input in this chap, so I hope the analyzer's willing to help out. Ray Pav. Shattered verse that the name the old civilization called it, not the DD world. No, this whole multiverse. The reason is simply the great disaster 3 million years ago. At the beginning of time, at the creation, the world as a whole was a one piece with space barriers around the worlds, not blocking but only separating them, full of element and life energy at different types in a whole other level, giving every intelligent race wide space and ways to alleviate their life. With the advance of all the civilizations around the world, they learn to advance, they learn to better themselves in every aspect, and with that, they learn to bend the element of the world to their will. In some worlds, they tame metal to build what they need, some bend the very concept of existing like life and death, some tame the changes in flow of nature, some use the natural energy, and so goes. Still, With that advance their very emotions blend and become capable of affecting the world positively and negatively. The positive ones like love and happiness give chance to evolve the world with it as energy, while the negative ones drop to the abyss and gather there. Then one day they gain emotion, gain intelligence, and a breath of life. A life that shows only what is negative, and in it a chance for change, a change to reset everything, to destroy everything and paint it black like the abyss they were born in. But in all of that, they can't do anything. They are concepts, intelligent yes, but still concepts can affect what is mental and spiritual only, so they hide in their birthplace and watch from the only connection they can use, darkness. So millions of years passed and they watch, the more they watch the more they learn, and the more they acquire ways to affect the world without being noticed. Time passed and the evil started to grow, until one day a unique species whose purpose is to keep the darkness in balance, betrayed the world and accept evil as a home. Not knowing their conscience, they mislead by evil and become the worst part of the world. The first tarnished race, but not the last. The world as a whole was linked from the beginning not only on a physical level, but also on a mental and spiritual level like weeb, and there the decision was akin to allowing evil to enter that weeb as a whole, causing some high diversion to the worlds. Kings become tyrant, saints become demons, loving fathers become haters and so on. And that was the beginning of a never-ending war between good and bad, between the world and the creation of his very own sons and daughters. But on the verge of world's destruction one clan, which was always seen as the laugh of the higher worlds, rises their weapon and attacks the very core of the abyss. Rising in war and flame they turn from their laziness nature to one that paints myths around the worlds either by survivors from the said clan or from the ones that rise their weapons to assist, but that story for other time. At the very beginning, their crusaders were only a clan of misfits, that drown in their playfulness and love for discovering new things. But one day their king, the first beast king, gathers his force and just marches on to his enemy's grounds, knowing well that it's war he will never leave alive. But thanks to his determination, the other high planes and forces join the war, and there starts the first and last great war against pure evil, or what is known as the Tarnishing Abyss. The war and its prospects were too long to count or put in a book, but at least it ended, but with great sacrifice. The 9 heads of the Beast clan come up with a way to seal them and stop the direct manipulation of the real world at the price of their lives. In the end, seeing this, he gave the descendant and the dead souls of this clan a gift. This gift is the allowance for them to keep their existence even after death, meaning no matter how much their soul was reincarnated, they are part of the clan, and it's their fate to become one again no matter what. And here comes my part 1. I'm one of the descendant of the Beast King and Fairy Queen, so that explains why I got the bloodline, but the Beast King was a fox. As if noticing my train of thought, he nodded. Yes, I am a heavenly fox, an extinct species. The nature fox is one of my evolution stages, so good luck. I nodded. I got that, but all the information didn't tell me what is this place. He looked at the horizon and sighed before sighing. Well, this place is one of the places linked to the spiritual world, precisely between the sealed part of the tarnished abyss and normal one. The only way to come in this place is either by holding the blood of one of the honored clans, or your essence got attacked by evil. I can feel my blood got cold. I mean, seriously, if one of those things got any chance to get out from where they are, then we're a huge problem, not because of its strength, no, on contrary, most of the species is weak. But have one thing as a weapon, anything that comes under their control becomes evil, and if your mentality and soul are not pure enough, you have no way to counterattack becoming their puppet. As I was in my thinking, he rise from his place and looks at me. Now since you know where we are, I will tell you why you are here. He raises his hand and a mirror was generated beside him, but what it reflected was a fire sphere with a dark bird flying around it. For some reason, I feel my eyes ash for a second before I notice something disgusting stabbed in the back neck of the bird. I saw it for seconds before he made the mirror vanish and look at me seriously. You know what is that, right? I look at him and sighed before answering with a tired voice. I wish it wasn't so, but I guess the seal is starting to wear off. He nodded. Yes, that way I woke up. When I and my friend seal it, we also made our souls sleep in these places, so yes, but don't worry, it's not completely broken, it's still million years off. But the weak ones can slip from the forming cracks as you sew on that girl, and believe me, she is lucky that you put that mark on her, or else. I look at him and sighed. So what should I do? You're not telling me this just as a warning, right? He looks at me as if stupid and I was confused. He scratches his head. Well, it's a stupid question, you know. Your very existence is the ban of them, so just pluck that thing and give it a death beating and get done with it. I was confused, but he sighed and started to explain plainly, look, you know that everything is born in doubles, sometimes more but always you will find the balance in some way. He stopped and put his hand in front with his palm facing up, and elements start to dance around it, light and dark, earth and lightning, and so on for the element, then the elements and matter, then spiritual and physical. That how the world work, and how the balance keeps itself, the same for evil. I understand what he means, but I got a really heavy emotion, so I ask with a lower head, if it my fate to fight them. He looks surprised and laughed while paying my head, what are you worrying about? You don't go around asking why humans breathe right. It's the same as something built in your body, no one will force you to use it if you don't want to, and also it's still millions of years earlier for you to worry about fate and such. What should be in your mind now is enjoying life as you are still young. He stopped petting me and tapped the side of my neck. Also, I am not good with explanations, but you should go after that girl. She had phoenix blood on her, and if I know something about them, they are the ones who will die for their mate's happiness. I start to heat up, and for some reason, my side neck also starts to heat more. He looks at me with a smile. Go get him, champ, we will talk later, chance, and remember, what you read in your past life is just the tip of what this world is. Some things don't have value without experiencing them, so start to take your decision and live the dream instead of being a spectator from the side. And finally here, he flicks his finger with a smirk and a little shin into my forehead. Chapter 37 Bless in Disgust 7. Third Pav. The old man looks at Ray with a smile. Go get him, a champ, we'll talk later, chance, and remember, what you read in your past life is just the tip of what this real world is. Some things don't have value without experiencing them, so start to take your decision and live the dream instead of being a spectator from the side. And finally here, he flicks his finger with a smirk and a little shining globe into Ray's forehead as he starts to despair. The next thing Ray notices is a black ink bird in front of him. He knows that this was like the place where he was before, but linked to Ma Xiao Dao, but for some reason, he couldn't let his eyes leave the thing. Stuck to the neck of the bird to look around. It was like a rod with a bloody heart in the middle, but he is the only one that can see it thanks to his fox martial soul innate eyes. If he were to describe his emotion in words, it will be disgust and anger, and the reasons are simple. The first was that he knew on instinct the thing in front of him was something hateful and disgusting for him and shouldn't be here in the first place. And the more domaining emotion is anger, well, angry that someone trying to control Xiao Dao. He looks at Ma Xiao Dao, then her mature figure of her, then back and forth between them. She definitely will be more than a beautiful lady in the future, that for sure. He nodded to the confusion of the one in question and the amusement of the flame phoenix. He looks back at the bird to find it bonded with the ivy, and also he can feel a connection to it. He unconsciously used his bloodline essence, his eyes turn golden green and a pair of dragonflies appear on his back. Not noticing the hot look both ladies give him, as he tried to use the ivy branches to pull the rod, but to his surprise, it jumped on its own in Xiao Dao's direction. The fire phoenix got in front of her, but before even reacting the thing hit a shield in front of him before he was thrown by the reflection of his attack and start to screech and jumble around. Thanks to coming in contact with Ray's energy, he starts to become visible. A dark body without eyes but horns in their place, no mouth but something like arms with sharp teeth in the end, and it floats there without legs and hands imaging it. Ma Xiao Dao got goosebumps all over her body just from the feeling she got and start to shake. What is that thing, and where it's come from? The flame phoenix answered while covering her in some red energy. That, little girl, what pure evil look, one of the weak ones, so don't worry. Then she looks at Ray, who was busy observing the thing. So this is the current generation one. Still weak to even stand on that battlefield, but his energy is too potent for his level, well, no less expected from both an honor and pride blood holder. As she keep the thing in check, Ray was scanning the thing, and he honestly feels like someone playing with his life. Almost everything they can do is something probably no mortal can fight. Hell, some cultivators with dark themes will easily be affected. Ray even starts to think that evil masters have some connection to these things, and this just a weak leveled one. Scan. Evil Pawn LE3. Pure negative energy being. A being from the forgotten betrayer races with no physical body or capability. Ability. Degenerating soul, soul parasite. Well, that is something to work on in the future. Thinking so, he noticed the pawn trying to attack Xiao Dao, but he erect a light element barrier in front of them, and every time the pawn tried to attack he will get burned, but didn't stop for a while. As he starts to back off to the unconcise blackbird, Ray steps up and vanishes to reappear in the way of the pawn and punish him right in the face, sending him flying. Wanting to try something, he deactivates his bloodline and activates his N-Fox martial soul. The moment he did so, the pawn froze in his place and started to shake as if he floating in the frozen sea. Ray took the chance and strengthened his right arm with soul power, giving it a dark gold shine. He used quick step and appear in front of him and punched his face, but this time he didn't get thrown, but instead, he stretches and starts to despair, to the surprise of Ray. After remembering what the old man said, Ray let the matter go, as this one was of the weakest on the list and can't really get much information from it. He looked back at the surprised ladies and started to scratch his head and got closer. He looks at Xiao Dao. Good to see that you are okay. Then he looks at the mature Xiao Dao, asking, Phoenix origin, I presume? She nodded. Flame Phoenix, to be more specific. She looked at the sleeping black bird, then create a fireball and kick it in its direction to hit it square in the forehead. That hurts. What was that for, sis? The red phoenix growled back. You asking for what? Do you remember how that weak ass control you? The blackbird flinched before sighing. My bad, okay. So don't get angry, okay? As the mature but childish voice stopped, a pure black aura enveloped the blackbird and turned again to mature Xiao Dao figure, but with black hair and eyes. Ray took a quick look at Xiao Dao and back to the two mature ladies. Man, whoever becomes your husband is a lucky bastard. As he said so, he looked around to find Xiao Dao with a deep red face almost like her head. The ladies start to laugh at him to notice. Did I say that loud? Both of them nodded with smirks, then looked at Xiao Dao, saying at the same time, loud and clear, causing him to blush with embedment while Xiao Dao starts to steam from her head. Ray took a deep breath and calmed himself. He looked at the Phoenix duo with a serious face. So, will you guys introduce yourselves? I have a general idea but not yours specific, and Xiao Dao doesn't know anything. The lady in question that almost calmed down start to blush again at the way he called her. The two ladies sighed and shook their head at the sight. Chapter 38. Bless in Discuss 8. Ma Xiao Dao. Ma Xiao Dao Pav. As the light fades out, a young man with dark skin, golden eyes, and black hair with red ends was standing there. This person, although I know him just a couple of hours ago, and we didn't talk to him that much, for some reasons I feel happy and calm right now. Is that something normal? As he appeared, he looks at the dark bird and his face started to give a disgusted emotion as his eyes start to glow. After seconds, he started to transform. His eye turned golden green, his hair was also the same color, and his ears longed a little with the appearance of 3 pairs of a dragonfly on his back. He gains holy and sacred feelings around him, and honestly, he looks hot. Not noticing the hot look I giving him, he tried to use the ivy branches to pull the rod, but to his surprise, it jumps on its own in my direction. The lady got in front of me, but before even reacting the thing hit a shield formed in front of use before it was thrown by the rebound and start to making screech voice and jumble around. Thanks to coming in contact with Ray's energy, he starts to take his original form and become visible, a dark body without eyes but horns in their place, no mouth but something like arms with sharp teeth in the end, and it floats there without legs and hands, imaging it if you can. I got goosebumps all over my body just from the feeling I got and start to shake as if I was dropped in the middle of a frozen sea. What is that thing, and where it's come from? The flame phoenix answered while covering us in some red energy. That little girl, what pure evil look, one of the weak ones, so don't worry. I was confused, but something that gives this ill feeling counts as weak. Ray was monitoring it, and for some reason, he have the face of someone who just gave up on thinking about something. Not seconds later the thing tried to jump at me, but Ray erect a light barrier in front of us again, and every time the thing tried to attack he will get burned but didn't stop, as if attacking mindlessly. After a while it starts to back off to the unconcise blackbird. Ray notice steps up to vanish and reappears in the way of the thing and punishes him right in the face, sending him flying. Ray stopped for a moment before undoing his transformation and was covered by light. At that moment his form changed again, gaining 9 fox tails and ears. The moment he did so the thing froze in his place and started to shake as if he floating in ice. Ray took the chance and appears in front of him with arms covered in dark metal sheen and punched his face, but the thing this time didn't get thrown. Instead, he screams and starts to despair to our surprise. Ray looked back at us and started to scratch his head and got closer after canceling the transformation. He looks in my direction. Good to see that you are okay. Then he looks at the lady beside me, asking, Phoenix origin, I presume? The lady nodded. Flame Phoenix, to be more clear. She look at the sleeping black bird, then create a fireball and kick it in its direction to hit its square in the forehead. That hurts. What was that for, sis? The red phoenix growled back. You asking for what? Do you remember how that weak ass control you? The blackbird flinched before sighing. My bad, okay. So don't get angry, okay. As the mature but childish voice stopped, a pure black aura enveloped the blackbird and turned again to mature figure of me, but with black hair and eyes this time. Ray took a quick look at me and back to the two mature ladies. Man, whoever becomes your husband is a lucky bastard. As he murmured so, he looked at us. I completely got frozen and felt my face hit up. Well yeah, is that something supposed to say so naturally? As if noticing something, he asked, Did I say that loud? Both of the red and black ladies nodded with smirks, then looked at him, saying at the same time, loud and clear, causing him to blush while I was a little away from losing conscience. Ray took a deep breath and calmed himself. He looked at the Phoenix duo with a serious face. So, will you guys introduce yourselves? I have a general idea but not yours specifically, and Xiao Dao doesn't know anything.